Check, check. Check, 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 check. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Check, check, check. Sound should be there just fine. So welcome on YouTube and TikTok. Dainty Body Ann. You are the first one in tonight. Welcome in. Um, it is Friday. Another week gone by quickly. Got an announcement for you guys a little bit later, but I'll put that probably in the middle of the show, or maybe halfway, maybe a half hour in once things get rolling. So on, so we talk here about atheism, science, belief, and counterapologetics. And I'm a LGBT supporter, so as that comes up too, I would like to cover that. The trans rights, especially right now, are in danger. We need to support people and educate people about that. The question I have up top, this came from a conversation. I don't know. I want to say 2 weeks ago, something like that, when somebody made the point was talking about sin, and sin is it's just people doing something they shouldn't be doing. I mean, there's good and bad behavior where we all do good things, we all do bad things, and everything in between. But the concept of sin is just it strengthens it. It weakens people's confidence, and it really demeans people. And that's the thing that bothers me about it as a concept. I mean, it's one thing to realize. Let me bring that up just a little bit. It's one thing to realize that we all are just normally imperfect. There's nothing. There's no fallen world concept on none of that stuff makes sense. But to say that we are sinful and imperfect it is just like pouring alcohol on a wound or something like that. It's really more than is necessary. And it doesn't really seem to help. Um, this if you're not an atheist, you probably have not. If you're still a theist, you've probably not run into what most atheists. I say this with high confidence, actually, especially after yesterday, a couple day show, the shows a couple days ago, where we had somebody who had no clue what atheists are thinking, and but of course they think they do, and because they're taught things like we just want to sin, and concepts like this are just pointless and ridiculous. So we need to learn to just be ourselves and deal with the normal range of human behavior. I hope this isn't too loud. Without making ourselves feel put down and useless and guilty all the time. I was going to say a lot of the people that go into atheism, especially post Christianity, well, essentially all post Christianity who do, because they've been living with the guilt that's been put upon them by their indoctrination of not being good enough in their behavior, displeasing God, worried about going to hell, all these things. And when you're a theist, you don't communicate with the atheists very well. And when you do, again, talk about the guy who was here a couple days ago, you don't listen. You don't listen. And that's one of the reasons I have this show is to try to get us to listen to each other. It's very difficult for some people to do, and breaking through at times is impossible. And that's unfortunate. when it does happen, when we do have two-way communication, it's a good thing. That doesn't mean that we're going to agree, but it means we are going to understand each other, and that's the important thing, that we because that reduces conflict between groups, right? Because otherwise we're like tribal groups shouting at each other and throwing spears from a distance. You're never close enough to communicate face to face. Anyways, those are my quick thoughts on that. Let me know what you think about this concept of sin. I don't see a value to it. Let's say hi to all sorts of people here. Du. Okay, well, I guess since we have a nice flow of people, I'll go ahead and make the announcement here. Um, I had a tough show last time, and it triggered me to think about doing this show, to continue doing this show, and I'll give you the end point, and then I'll explain up to it. Um, I've been doing this show 3 or 4 months now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30, and occasional extra shows on the weekends, try off hours, trying to get some of the followers up and stuff like that. But it has become too much, so I'm going to cut back to just a weekly show. And even though this is Friday, the we're going after this, I'm going to be just doing it on Wednesdays. Uh, Fridays are not a great night because there's a lot of competition. Um, but that's also one of the reasons I'm doing it on Wednesday. I will say a piece of the reason that I wanted to do this show. First off, I've been doing this communication with atheists and theists for more than 10 years now. Probably 2013 is when I started on a website, um, interacting with my local groups and asking atheist booths, doing talks, doing on stage debates, and Bob, I'm gonna okay, hold on, let me bring you in, and it's been something I've had an interest in, but one thing I wanted to do with doing this show and continuing it would be to make sure that the interaction is getting to the public. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but especially on TikTok in the last 2 to 3 years, there has been kind of like a third generation resurgence in atheist content providers, if you will. So the public need is being served. We know we've got the OG. We know the um, uh, atheist community of Austin is still very active. Matt Dillahunty left after a few years ago, and that's after doing it with ACA for 20 years. Now he has the line, which does I think 5 shows a week, very well serving the community. There is Wes over at Skeptic Haven, who's a friend of mine, and I worked with them for about a year and a half. They're doing routine shows, like 6 or 7 shows a week now, I think. And there are so many people on TikTok that are doing it, both short term and long term. Now, one of the one of the things that you learn when you look like me is that there is less of an interest in listening to an old white guy. So, and I understand it just comes with age. It's like the one thing it didn't it bothered me a little bit, but it also made me laugh was Dr. Blitz, who's the physicist who's on TikTok. A couple weeks ago, he said that old people are boring. Yeah, I know. We've all been there. We've all been young. But however, I am really happy that this next generation, I see um, Matt as a sort of the second generation to the Four Horsemen, and then now there's the third generation would be like Forrest Valkai, who's very active, of course, on his own, Aaron Ra and such as that second generation, and now you have a third generation like Justin Deconstruction Justin and others. I'm sorry I'm not thinking of people because there's a lot of great people out there, but that need is being served. So to the degree that I will continue it, it's because I also want to be doing it somewhat, but not. It's not that I feel anymore that the less that I do, the less the public is served because there's enough out there, and even on TikTok, there's many. If you look, just scroll through any night of the week, there's like 4 or 5 of us at one time. Um, Araya, okay, I'll answer your questions in a couple minutes over on YouTube. So the other thing for me is particularly, I haven't really talked about this before. I've mentioned it a couple of times in passing. I have an anxiety disorder, and I've had it for my entire life. Been medicated on it since was 35. Doing this show is stressful to me. I actually have to take medication, extra medication to do it. Um, and it's not really the best idea to do that 3 times a week. Once a week is fine. Doing it more than that, it feels like stress recovery, stress recovery, stress recovery. It's just turned out to be a little too much. That's probably healthy for me. So that's reason two. Um, Somebody asked when I was about a week ago, I was putting up things about coins and stuff on TikTok, trying to raise a little bit of funds for my wife and I for travel. And TikTok is not the place to do that. Someone asked if I was doing this for money, and there's a piece of it that, yeah, there was a little small piece of it, but TikTok is not. It doesn't really work that well unless you're big, unless you've got a big following like Justin and Dr. Blitz and those guys who get like thousands of viewers all the time. So, um, so for my wife and I've been working on starting an Etsy shop. Some of that is merch for Believe in Reality, but mostly it'll just be surviving on its own. That's going to come live as soon as I get the business license through, probably a month from now. But I'm going to let that be my business end of it. So I'll throw out the links and stuff when the time comes if you want to take a look at it. But that's not going to be the main function of what I do here. So I've switched this banner up here to followers. Put it back to followers. We'll track followers and try to get those numbers up, and not worry about chasing pennies. It's funny. I think the best, just out of curiosity, the best night ever on TikTok for raising money here was 1,000 coins, which is $5, and there have been plenty of nights with like 0 or like 3 cents. you know, so TikTok does not a fundraising place unless you've got like 50,000 followers and 1,000 people watching you simultaneously and things like that. But you really need a worldwide audience, and that's just not going to be me. Anyways, so that's the reality. I did want to come here tonight on schedule to at least make the announcement. It's going to be a full 3-hour show tonight, so just hang and as long as you guys want to talk to me tonight, I'll be here. Otherwise, uh, past there, I won't do a show next Monday, but we'll just be on the every Wednesday from there forward, keeping it predictable. So, how you doing, Bob?
Not too bad. Sounds like something else we share.
Really? What's that?
The anxiety.
Oh, really? Yes. How does that work for you?
It's.
Have you-
I'll be honest. It's been a long time since I had any problems.
Yeah.
Um, Mainly up because I moved. I came to live in a place where there's a much better work-life balance. Got myself sorted out. Um, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's been a long time, but still get the occasional twitch. But
It's
taking better care of myself and not and being aware of things like um, CB, CBT ways of dealing with it,
Mhm.
cognitive behavior therapy ways of
Yeah.
focusing and saying, why am I feeling like this? What's going on? And using certain kind of sort of strategies to kind of focus and do you know what I mean? And deal with that.
Yeah.
What is basically a what is basically a chemical reaction in the brain.
It
And know
is.
why it's
It
happening and
is.
understand what you can do about it. Because I think one of the things that um, it's been recognised is that the reason that our brains do this to us uh, is because we over respond, we overproduce certain things when we don't need to,
Yeah.
which makes us, when there is a crisis, when there is something that's genuinely does need us to have these responses, it actually makes us better able to deal with real crises.
I've noticed that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of real short term, when something acute is happening, um, I'm actually quite calm.
Yeah.
And it can hit me later. It can hit me, it depends on the situation, but it can hit me like a half hour later or after it's over or something. But at the moment, I'm actually quite calm and
And I
focused.
think with that, that's something I noticed, that if there has been some situation where the brain does what it's supposed to do and it produces these sort of chemicals and helps us to, like you say, remain calm afterwards, I think the way we start to feel run down, we start to feel kind of over emotional and stuff. And if we know what's going to happen when that happens, and we again use strategies like even talking about it, even kind of processing what's happened, that can make that. And I think, I mean, I used to work in drug and alcohol rehab center.
Mm,
And there was one couple of times where we would have some very, very dangerous situations arising, and you deal with it, and you sort of sort it out. And I remember two situations. One where we had this really fairly heavy thing happened, and afterwards we sort of sat around and processed it and dealt with it, and then went home and talked about what had happened and all that kind of stuff. Went home, went to sleep, everything was fine. And then we had another situation, another big crisis, big kind of, and after I just went home and I cried
yeah.
as
Yeah.
the feeling of tiredness and kind of everything kind of washing out of you because we weren't actually talking about it. And that's what I mean about the power of talking about it, the power of CBT, knowing that, because that basically is saying this is what happens, and we're using these things to sort of consciously. Do you see what I'm so that it's not just, oh, we just talk about it, but we know that what the body is doing, and the
Yeah.
way we deal with that is by analyzing it and talking about it and talking through it. And it's a bit like all these people in the world who have uh, PTSD,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm
Yeah.
convinced that one of the reasons that these symptoms arise is because, having been through incredibly traumatic things. And I'm not saying, oh well, they would have been better if they just talked about it, because I don't think it's just talking about it. I think that as a species, we have we've evolved to do these things. We've also evolved processes and ways of dealing with these things, if you
Well,
see what I mean. It's like when I come
I
back to the
did.
whole
I
thing
do.
about, I, sorry,
And
sorry.
what people are different too. I mean, we all have our
Yeah.
our sort of that point of when we're comfortable and stuff, and then this causes
Yeah.
anxiety and this relaxes us. Some of us have a higher. or a lower set point, I should say,
Yeah.
where we overreact to the same stimulus.
Right.
Um,
I mean, that's the thing that the way it was explained to me by a doctor is that, and I think you and I probably have the thing when you have a disorder, that just again that word again means that our body is overproducing
mhm,
these chemicals that cause this physical reaction that we experience, the heightened blood
yeah,
rate, the kind of the shaking and the kind of
yeah,
tremors and the kind of
heart. Different people have different symptoms,
yes, the
but
pain.
the
I mean,
rapid heart
you
rate.
know, we have this. I think one of the issues I have with psychiatry, for example, is that there isn't a separation between the mental, the brain, the mental, the feelings, and the physical. We feel like these things because of what is going on chemically,
Yeah.
and
One
the way
one
it was explained to me by this doctor was that, and the reason that I mean, I have used, uh, you know, prescription pharmaceuticals and various SSRIs and all these kind of stuff. And the way it was explained to me by the doctor is, you know, it was that our brains overproduce these things when they don't need to, and when there isn't actually a we're not responding to a tiger chasing us through the jungle.
right,
You know?
right, exactly,
um,
exactly.
and if they were, we would probably be there, right in the zone, dealing with tiger better than a lot of other people. But the
Yeah,
problem comes when our brains overproduce the chemicals for dealing with those situations when those situations
yeah,
don't warrant it. And not
yeah.
only do we have to deal with that when it's happening, it's like we're reacting to, I don't know, the bushes moving
Well, you could also
when all it is the wind in the bushes.
right.
If you see
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah, it's the opposite of those who have excessive fear.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
you're
absolutely.
getting false positives instead of false
Yeah,
negatives. Um, one of the things that I had was it would uh it was less like you say it's an overstimulus. So
yeah,
whatever stimulates you would stimulate you more. I'd go to anxiety quicker and stuff. And
yeah.
then you have the problem of anticipatory anxiety.
Well, yeah, tell me about it.
And that's where it gets bad, and that's where the cogn for those who haven't gone through it, those that's where the cognitive therapy can really help for some people.
Oh yeah.
Some can't. It didn't work for me. It wasn't enough for me. I had to get to medication ultimately.
No, I
Um,
did as well. I mean, I'm not saying it was
but yeah,
it's the panacea.
yeah.
You
It,
know, I
but
think medication is
it's
very
what you want to try first, right?
helpful.
Because you want to try the least invasive treatments first. So, but yeah, it's an odd thing to do, and it's one of those things early in life, when you're first feeling it and trying to come to grips with what the hell this is, that you think,
Yeah,
why doesn't it go away, or why me? And yeah, that you go through that kind of a phase, depending on how bad it is. You get people around you, especially as an adult now, that say, "Well, you're making it up. It's you just have to cope like that, like they do," and they don't, of course, have the same sort of anxiety, so they really have no clue what it feels like. And SSRIs are, which I'll explain that if anybody wants to know. SSRIs are a thing that some people say that is over medicated and nobody should be on them, and we should take them away. And please don't.
like your current health secretary, for example.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, SSRI, that's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So what happens is at the end of a synapse, the chemicals will come out, and then there's receptors that receive the serotonin. Um, this basically the SSRIs will reduce the breakdown of the serotonin, so
Yeah,
it stays in the synapse longer, and you get more information going across. realize too in the nervous system, not everything is overstimulation because some of our neurotransmitters are actually have a negative. They actually turn things off instead of turn things on. So having more of them turns things off. We're the whole this whole mix of feedback mechanisms. We have positive things and negative things, and things to turn off the positive things, and other things that turn off the negative things. And this is how we all keep in balance.
The way the doctor explained it to me was that the SSRIs put like a cushion at the top and the bottom of the graph of the serotonin, so it
Yeah,
stops it from going too high and stops it from going too low, and it kind of
yeah.
squishes it, which is why when you start taking them, they can be a little bit. It can be quite hard for a few days
Yeah, it
because
depends. Well,
it's.
if you're doing it right, it shouldn't be difficult. I don't want to scare anybody easier because it's one of those things that this SSRIs take about 3 weeks to work. But
Yeah,
the side effects can come right away, which is just
yeah,
like typically lightheaded and stuff like that. But you also, what you do is you just start at very small doses. You let those little side effects come. It's usually very minor.
yeah,
You stay on that dose for like a week, and of course your anxiety is still going to be there, and then you bump it up a dose, and then you balance that increasing until you get the anxiety. So it's usually about a 4 week course to get it up, and at about 6 weeks, that's when you know if it's going to work or not, if that particular drug is going to work or not. So titrating it properly. This is why
yeah,
too many people are. It's not that they're overprescribed. Too many people are prescribed these drugs by general physicians that don't know how to titrate them properly. And then patients often will stop taking it. This is the worst thing is they get it the doctor might prescribe like a too high a dose to start. They get a side effect. The patient goes, I don't like this side effect. They stop taking it and they don't tell the doctor. And they go back to the doctor the next time and they say it didn't work, and the doctor
yeah,
increases the dose and makes it worse.
yeah.
So, it takes a practitioner who knows a little something about it to get the balance right and to titrate slowly. And then
Mhm.
same thing if you're coming off of it, you got to titrate slowly back off of it too. So
No, I mean, another thing I found is the more you talk about it, the more you find actually we're not in a minority.
well, good.
In broad mental health terms, the more one talks about, the more one is open about what's going on and um, the different things that we experience, you
Yeah,
realise actually there's an awful lot about. Now I have come to the conclusion it's possibly more to do with modern life. We are reacting
yeah.
to me, mental ill health is basically reactions to negative stimuli, and
As long as you don't go so far as to let people know that what they're feeling is not right, because not we all react to normal stimuli that
oh
cause
yeah,
anxiety and excitement and stuff.
oh,
So it's figuring out the ones that are overreacting.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know, but life is more complicated. I can't hardly imagine what it would be like to be a teenager in high school,
Mm.
given the volume of more information there is to learn these days.
Mhm.
You know, um, at least they have Google now, and, and
Yeah.
you're not expected to do
Mm.
complex calculations as much because you've got your calculators and things. It used to make me laugh. I was this will tell you how old I am. When I took physics in high school, I was the last year that they taught us how to use a slide rule. And I'll bet you a lot of people listening don't even
I
know what the
thought
hell a
I thought I
slide
was
rule
older than
is.
you.
What's
I
that?
thought I was older than you. I'm 56. I thought I was older than you.
I'm 66.
Oh, right. I thought I was older than you.
Yeah.
Well,
I have kind of a young look. My mom has I get it from my mom. So,
no, it's just something I thought you'd said before. I just had a birthday Wednesday, so
happy
I'm kind
birthday.
of feeling my another time around the planet, around the
Oh,
sun.
you're a young guy. Come on.
Oh,
I
don't you
got 10
patronize
years.
me?
I got 10 years on you. What are you complaining about?
No, no, I'm not complaining. It's just, um,
No, I'm just trying to make you feel better.
no, no, no. I haven't been feeling that low about my age. Actually, no. I mean, it's, um, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think um, that I think what modern life, we do an awful lot of things, and I'm not just talking about in the 21st century. I'm just talking about over the last 150 years. We have we have created ourselves for a life that is not good for us.
Yeah.
From simple things like the fact that the invention of, we are a diurnal species, right? We are an animal that
Yeah.
lives in sunlight. Okay.
Yeah.
And the invention of the light bulb and the creation of 24-hour working, I think, is one of the very worst things that we could possibly have done for ourselves, because we enable ourselves to work in an environment which is incredibly unhealthy for us,
Are you a day
right?
person or
And
a
this
night?
is why we have the right.
Are you a day person or a
Sorry,
night? Are you a day person or a night person?
a what?
A day person or a night person?
I'm sorry.
You know, a day. Some people like to get up early and have the early morning and stuff, and some people like to stay up late at night, but never like to. But always sleep in.
I'm sorry, you.
Did that cut off?
No, uh, no, sorry. I think we've got a network a problem. I think
Oh.
I've got a network connection problem.
Oh. Okay.
Um, I've always experienced what we now know to be seasonal affective disorder.
Oh. Okay.
I've always got incredibly depressed in the winter,
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
and I, for one, I spent about 6 months working nights,
That's hard.
and it was really, really bad for me.
That's hard.
And I think you asked me what did I do? Well, living in a country where the days are a lot longer and it's a lot sort of, I sort of think maybe human beings are not evolved to work anywhere further north than the Pyrenees, because a couple of extra hours of daylight just do wonders.
Well, I mean,
You know?
Dad,
if you're there for
you?
generations, you will adapt.
I'm kidding. I'm an atheist. I was just saying, Dad, is that you?
No, this is me,
Could be.
God.
You Bob or me? That's Bob.
Hi there. How are you doing?
So what a whoop. Okay. Never mind.
We went.
He dropped.
So you're only going to be doing one of these a week.
Yeah, that's gonna fit much better. It's a shift in priorities again. Being 66 and my wife is the same age. We've got some shifting priorities that are going on and some increased costs that are going on. So I need to spend some time doing something that's a little more financially productive as part of it.
What's the plan? How are you going
to? Starting up an Etsy business
Oh.
with print on demand. Been building that. It's a lot of work. I gotta say. And my gosh, people who did this before AI, I kind of it's hard to imagine how they could have done it. Because you can use AI to help you make graphics and stuff like that, and some of the descriptions. Because it takes they as I listening to the different YouTube coaches and stuff and learning about it, it takes like 1,000 products and stuff like that to start to get some traction. And it's like, how do you do that? It's like a 9 to 12 month process.
Yeah.
So, and I've been at it for like 6 weeks. So
right. And I would imagine it can be a little bit anxiety provoking itself.
No, because I'm relatively practiced now. I mean, I'm a pharmacist too, right? I'm a retired
Yeah.
pharmacist, so I know
Oh,
that
right.
I know all this how everything works chemically and
Mm.
everything. So, and I'm aware of my personal triggers. Like I no longer have panic attacks, for example.
Right.
So if I have symptoms that start to show up, number one, I can reevaluate being retired
Mm.
what I'm doing, do less of that. But number two, I can say, oh, this is happening, then just go relax or something. So things that used to trigger me into panic attacks no longer
Yeah.
do. So it's just like, okay, it's a big task. Just look at it a step at a time, day at a time, and just know it's going to be that way. You know.
I mean, I got really lucky with that. One of the things that used to trigger me. I mean, I've had a series of very poor bosses, and that whole "can I have a word?"
I'm sorry, a series of what?
You know what I mean? Can I chat? Can I have a chat? A series of really bad bosses.
Oh, bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I now have a boss who is the opposite.
Oh, how
She's
great.
really great, and she's been through her nonsense with with other people, with her sort of, and I've been through mine, and we've kind of talked about how, and so slowly over time, it's kind of knowing that when somebody says we wants to talk to you, it isn't because they're going to tell you off. It isn't because they're going to tell you what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And she knows how I react when she says something, when she
Yeah.
thinks she's got to say something, and and I'm just so lucky because she's really cool. She can drive me up the wall sometimes, but she puts up with me, and it's so again I've been very fortunate
Yeah.
in terms of knowing what happens. And like you say, I can't remember when was the last time I had a full on panic attack
That's
because
good.
they
It's
suck.
been that long.
They really suck. No, no, no. I know.
They do.
I've had the occasional wobble and the occasional kind of tremor,
They do.
and the kind of fuck, this is happening. What's going to? Sorry, that was TikTok inappropriate. And you're like, oh my god. And then you think, and like you say, knowing it's coming and knowing
Hmm.
that
Once
what
you
you can do to deal with it.
recognize the
So,
symptoms are starting,
yeah. Uh,
yeah, you can.
or even simply waking up and thinking, feeling anxious and whatever, and you think, why am I feeling like this? There is absolutely no reason.
Yeah, that for me was
No
when I
reason.
had to start the medication because I
Oh no,
because
because
I
that's when you
started.
know you have a disorder.
That's so we know
When
it's a
is
little
your body?
further because yeah, at one
Yeah,
point there
when is your body?
I started to have panic attacks when I was like perfectly comfortable sitting on the couch
Oh
in the
yeah,
evening
yeah,
watching
good.
TV, and here comes this thing.
Mm,
It's
mm,
just like, okay, this is a little more serious.
yeah, yeah. No, as I say, I did use. Uh, had various times when I took because apparently aren't you supposed to only take them for a certain amount of time?
It's individual. The
Right.
benzodiazepines, they don't really use hardly at all anymore. Not because it's more addictive. It's harder to get off of them.
Yeah.
SSRIs are still very common. The, the
Yeah.
the thing about taking them for a short time, like say a few months or something like that, is if you have a clinical problem, like a clinical depression or an anxiety,
Yeah.
your physiology is not going to change. So you may have to take them for life. Um,
Mm.
but there's no research on that because
No.
they do the studies for a number of years, right? Because there's many phases in the studies, but they only study them for 6 to 8 weeks. So the recommendations to take them for six to
Yeah.
eight weeks
Right.
come from because they've been studied. It's only the information that comes down the road from people using them that that gets into the knowledge space of the practitioners through
Mm.
conventions and
Yeah.
conferences and stuff.
I mean, I would imagine living in the US, there's lots of other things that could make people justifiably anxious, and
There is
that we
now.
don't have.
There
Well,
is
no, no.
now.
I mean, I was going to say this is your news from the 1930s calling.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
this is your, does the word Munich mean anything to anyone? I felt like watching that today. I felt like what it might have been like seeing Chamberlain talking to Benej when the British and the French sold Czechoslovakia down the tubes to Hitler, to Schmittler. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a few TV
Only-
shows
the
that
only
I
difference
won't
is-
watch right now.
No, don't. So they make justifiable anxiety.
Yeah.
But,
There's that one show with where if the Nazis won the war, and kind of a thing. It's like, no, I don't need to be watching that one.
No, I really. But with me, one of the things I couldn't watch. I started watching it was The Handmaid's Tale.
Mm.
I watched it and I was like, nah. This isn't supposed to be a documentary. This is kind of like what?
Yeah.
It's genius. It's brilliant. It's a fantastic show. But I got to the stage
Yeah.
where
I've been wanting.
reality is a lot more scary.
I've been wanting to watch that show, but now because, like you say, the reality has gotten too close to it that it's back on the back burner. It's not going to
You
get
guys are
watched
serious?
for a number of
Hello.
years. Hi, Curious. How you doing? Yeah,
I'm good. It's Chris Vigil.
Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
You seriously think The Handmaid's Tale is going to come true?
No.
No.
I'm speaking a little bit broader.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I hear that a lot lately, and it's really weird that some people actually do believe that.
Well,
Yeah, that's true. I can't say much on it because I haven't seen the show or read the book yet. So, and
I watched it a bit. No, we don't think it's going to actually come true. But you do have a fascist in the White House who is selling your country out. You do disagree, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Which of the 14 characteristics common to fascism would you like to show me how Trump doesn't fulfill?
Well, instead of me proving a
your country
negative,
down the toilet to Putin.
instead of me proving a negative, how about you just, make the claim and back it up?
What? That Trump's a fascist? Oh,
Yeah,
let
you
me
made the
just get mine.
claim. So-
let's not do this. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yeah,
I generally try to stay away from the intense politics, so let's not
Cool.
let's not go there.
Yeah.
Would you
Well,
like
I
to
didn't
address
come
the
up with
prompt
that,
then, my friend?
but it is what you were talking about, so I thought I'd throw my 2 cents in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, knock some sense into us. And unfortunately, like I want to watch The Handmaid's Tale, so I don't want spoilers on it. So
Yeah.
other than what I already know.
Yeah, you probably already know anything that I would say anyway. But yeah, so
Oh.
So would you like to address the prompt then?
what? Oh yeah.
To
Phil's,
imagine
it's Phil's live.
in
He's
a-
asked us not to talk about the full-on politics. Would you like to address the prompt?
Yeah, well, I mean, I generally agree. I just needed some backup because I'm tired of trying to go on theist lives and try to have conversations with them, and they don't give you but a second. And the moment they disagree with you just a little bit, you're thrown out. You can't talk. There's no conversation.
Theist
anymore.
lives or atheist
The same
lives?
experience, my
Theist
friend.
lives. I'm an atheist. I'm an
Yeah.
agnostic. So I
Yeah.
agree with the prompt for the most part.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we probably all had the same experience, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they were necessarily that sin was like specifically imagined up just for that purpose, but it definitely is used for that purpose. I think probably some people really just came up with the concept and believed it themselves, even. Who knows where it originates,
Yeah.
right? But
What's
Yeah,
what's
I think-
what it's annoying to me is when it becomes part of the regular preaching and not beyond the apologetics. I mean, some people get apologetics and some people just get preaching, but I see it as psychologically demeaning, basically, and to do that to teenagers and kids and young adults and that's
well,
what
it's
bothers me.
dehumanizing to some degree, right?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Chris, that was a literal clown show over there. Like,
Where'd you
I
come?
couldn't believe it.
Where'd you come from?
just the previous live where they're over there trying to convert non-believers, but they won't let anybody give an opposing view. Like, it's so crazy. It's a clown show, man.
Well, they tossed me out when he said, let's say that Egyptians were trying to judge modern morality, what did he say? Something about how would they or could they properly judge your morality? Something like that. I'm like, well, I
To
don't know what
simplify
you.
it, he was trying to say, if you don't accept my version of morality, then we can't talk.
Well, yeah, that's what it comes
Wow.
down to. But just like
Yeah.
how we got there was this question that he proposed, like if the ancient Egyptians were judging my morality, how could they properly do so? And I was like, I don't know what you mean by proper. Like,
Right.
how does that? How do you figure out what's proper between two subjective or two subjects about a subjective issue? There, what's proper? Like, of course, the
Yeah.
theist. I know what's going on in this guy's really dim brain, right? I understand presuppositionalism to a T, and even people who don't know what that word means, who've never heard it before, they're thinking the same way. It's just
Yeah.
basic dumb theistic thinking, where you think that your God provides you with the ultimate core for morality and knowledge, even if you've never even really thought this through before. You still think that way.
Do you
So I know
see?
what he's
Do you
saying.
think there's any basis for that at all?
Of course
No.
not.
To me, it seems like a non sequitur.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
nonsensical non sequitur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
There's, I mean,
they've got the get out card. They've always got the get out card that
Yeah.
proof denies faith.
oh yeah, in
Right.
this case,
They'll
it's the
come at you
button
and
to
they'll
get rid
go,
of you.
prove to us scientifically that God doesn't exist, which, as you say, doesn't. You can't prove a negative because that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. I think
Exactly, but they will always play. And you know, we've had people, Phil's had people on here that have played this card. As soon as we get to because they know that the scientific method doesn't. Because they misuse words like proof, evidence, theory, hypothesis.
yes.
Deliberately misrepresent what those words mean. They'll come and go, prove to us that God doesn't exist. And the scientific method always allows for doubt. It always allows for the possibility that evidence might appear to change the theory. But because they know because they're so absolute, and then whenever you come along and say, well, actually, there is a tiny, even if, because they know that scientific method allows for the fact there might be 1%, we might be wrong.
Yeah.
That 1%, some evidence might appear, and suddenly there is this beardy man sitting outside time and space running, and we go, right, okay, great, there's the evidence that we've changed our theory. But they know that. But every time we produce evidence that there is the increasing amount of evidence to show that there isn't anything there, they'll play the proof denies faith card. They'll play the or we'll say there's no evidence that there is anything in space and time and in any of the observable universe that shows that there is this thing. And then they'll go, well, our God is outside space and time. Proof denies faith, bang, we're done. If you prove God, because that argument is, if you prove God, then God doesn't exist, because by their logic, he can't. Because by proving that he exists, he doesn't exist. Because you don't need faith.
Yeah, that's Douglas Adams there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Proof denies faith, God disappears in a puff of logic. He's a very quotable man.
So like, it's funny because like, if you can get through the conversation without getting dumped, and that's like the only time that happens is when they don't have their finger on the button. That's the only time I can really get through the conversation with them is when they're not in control. I'll let them say all kinds of ridiculous things, and I'll wait. I'll wait for them to pray. I'll wait for them to say all kinds of just really nonsensical stuff. But they won't wait for me to say, well, what do you mean by that word? And it's funny that you're talking about how they get the semantics all wrong on purpose, while they dump me off the stage for questioning what a word means.
Right.
Like, what do you mean by it? How do we figure out what it is in this case? But you can get them to it. Like, if you can walk them back to how they decided on the God and the religion that they've chosen, now we can talk about how apparently they had a measuring stick before they got there.
Right.
So clearly,
It's inductive reasoning, isn't it?
yeah.
You have your
clearly-
hypothesis and then find the evidence to prove it.
Right. I was thinking about this, an idea for like a book that would I don't know how popular it could be or whatever, but like a book on how to refute these things on like these platforms. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
using like different things in the Bible. You know, like very specific things, like.
I can give you a list if you like. There are
Oh,
two books that I've been that
Yeah, I
are
I've
could
been
tell
there
you what
really?
I
No,
could
I'm
tell you what I
interested.
could have done in that last one. I already know what I did wrong. I allowed him to guide me. I
Right.
answered his
Ah,
questions. Instead of just saying, well, I'm here to refute it. Let me just do that. Answered every time I answer their questions, they lead me down a path where they can just dump me. They give themselves permission to just say, you don't
oh,
count. We don't need to have a conversation.
so
Yeah.
cut off the
You need to stop
conversation.
letting them.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead with the book.
Okay, right. Number one, and there's a book called Crucifying the Bible.
Oh, Deborah Grace.
Is that her name? She was a long time born again evangelical Christian, and she tells the story in her book, and she basically brings the receipts. She goes through using the knowledge that she has of the script of scripture. Each chapter has all the verses you could possibly need, and goes through and basically dismantles the Bible bit by bit.
Right.
And it's very readable. It's very well written. I got it on Audible or on audio, so it was. Oh, this is another one.
Evidence considered.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
know.
got two that I know, so that's one that I like.
Yeah, there's Crucifying the Bible. There's also one which I haven't read yet, but I have spoken to and interacted with with one of the writers, and it's called Christ Before Jesus.
I've heard that one.
Basically uses what do they call it? There's is it called not stenography? There is a science of textual analysis whereby you use data science to analyze texts to look
Right.
at how they were written and who wrote them.
Right.
And they've done a job on which appears strongly suggests that there was not a historical Jesus.
I think you're right though, James, it taking the angle of how it would be done on
On TikTok.
TikTok or similar
Yeah.
type of debates
Like
is
giving
a good
certain.
angle that I haven't seen done. I
Right. So
mean,
like you would have different subjects within this book, like slavery, or you know what I mean, like
yeah,
how to refute the Bible through slavery, or how to refute the Bible through just certain heinous acts. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, that would just be kind of overlapping with all the other books that already do
well,
that
yeah, but
job.
it would be
Yeah,
specific to
but see,
criteria.
here's the thing too, though. We always need new books because
Sure.
we kind of forget about the ones that are 5 years past and such. So
Right.
the more that we have new stuff, even though it's some stuff we've heard before. I mean, you can go through Matt Dillahunty's debate series and
Right.
Right.
get a lot of great information. He doesn't cover slavery, but
Right.
at least not in that particular series. But
But
it does help to have new stuff come out.
Yeah. No, I meant in like the sense of sticking to the title that he kind of posed there. Specifically, what's the tactics to use for TikTok and whatnot? I mean, you could use like the topic of slavery in an example, but like there are like my response immediately was actually a tactical thing you could use on these lives, which is don't let them guide you because they're
right.
just trying to lead you to a cliff where they can kick you off.
And that would be a part of it, right? Is like, don't let this happen, don't let that happen. This is
Yeah.
the way to approach it. These are the questions to start with. You know what I mean? Stuff like that on how to do these types of debates versus just learning knowledge about the Bible or about other things. It's like
Yeah.
specific to this platform.
You would probably
Yeah.
want to go at it with like if I were going to write it, the chapters would be how to approach a presuppositionalist Philbro,
Right, exactly.
and then how to approach an Islamicist.
Yes,
And go down
yes.
the list of all the different people that you're going to come across
Yeah,
because they're
maybe
all
a book
slightly
is
different.
Because
Maybe a
right,
book
each
would
one
be
of
the
those
right
people
format for it.
is going to have different ways to approach and ways to refute what they believe, right?
I think Bob was trying to say something. He's really quiet.
Yeah, no, maybe a book wouldn't be the right format for it.
Maybe.
You know,
Well,
because
I mean, different thing. I mean, it would work well as a series also, but
uh,
as a YouTube series or something like that that people
TikTok
could get
series.
back to. But you could do it as a book also.
Yeah, I would rather have
Put it on Amazon, and that way, when you're doing the series, you can flash the book and try to get a little bit of traction there too.
Yeah,
So
let's
my
start
thing is
taking notes for it, James.
have it right here in my lap. You know what I mean? While I'm doing this.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a friend of mine, Michael Weisman, who has a show called The Bible Says What, and he has a book that goes with it. He's essentially done that. He has a weekly show on YouTube, and he does some work on TikTok too. But he has written basically a book, and he has that with him that he can refer to, and he does some small sales on it. I'm sure that he'll sell one here and there. Um, it helps. It also
I know there's an Australian.
go ahead.
I think he's cutting out.
Oh, you're cutting out. It's Michael Wiseman, Wiseman,
Yeah, sorry.
not the Michael Weissman.
Is
That
that
other
is it? Yeah,
people know
Michael Weidman.
that's a different guy, completely different guy.
Right, because it's a guide to logical fallacies, explaining what they are and how to kind of deal with them.
Yeah, I would read that too.
There's a couple of those.
Bunch.
Shoot, I can't think of the name of it. Also, there's one by I think it's Armin Navadi
Canadian.
did one.
There's an
Didn't
Australian.
Armin do one? David.
There's a
David's the
podcast
other
also
guy.
called. There's a
wonder what
podcast,
would
Australian
happen-
podcast.
Do you guys know Anthony Magnabosco?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Street epistemology. I wonder what it would be like if he were to do that on TikTok or somebody like him. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. I've only seen him on YouTube. I haven't seen him do TikTok.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you guys ever watch Thinker?
Yes. Yeah.
I like her. I like her lives. Plus, there's Joel Reed's Bible. There's Mezzo. Them guys are great at what they do. And then,
I'm still mad at Thinker.
are you?
Yeah. Remember she set me up?
Did she? I did.
She set a lot of people up. She gave bad advice. I mean, it's,
Uh-oh.
like, you can't win every time. You're going to be wrong sometimes. But when I try to talk to her about it, she actually blamed me for using her advice.
Uh-oh.
It's like, don't just repeat what I say. Well, okay, I didn't just blindly go, I'm going to go use this argument. It came up in a discussion, and so I used the verse she suggested, I hadn't researched it yet because I hadn't really thought about doing it. I wasn't considering doing it, but the subject happened to come up, and I was like, okay, let's go look at this verse. And it turns out she was completely wrong about the point. It was an Isaiah 53 quote about Emmanuel. That's the child that is actually being prophesied. It's supposed to be actually named Emmanuel, which Jesus is not. So Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus. But the point that she was pointing to was how it says that by the time he is chewing curds and honey, he will be of the age of accountability, or something to that effect. And she was saying that this is telling the Hebrew people when the age of accountability was, and that wasn't the case at all. So when I went to it and we read it, I was like, okay, never mind. Sorry, my bad. Because it's just saying when this individual that is being prophesied about will be of the age of accountability, not everyone in general. So it was just a bad argument. And so anyway, when I went and talked to her about it, she's like, well, don't just repeat everything I say. Well, okay, yeah, thanks.
Right. Which is what most people are gonna do.
Right. Like I really I wasn't planning on ever using it. I didn't think it would ever really come up. It's not something that really does come up very often, but it did. And so it went there, and then I was like, well, okay, I wasted time, and now I look like a doofus.
Yeah.
Well, they can't all be gems.
Yeah.
Can't win every argument or lose every argument.
Where's all these theists at, man? Bring them up. Bring them up. Bring them
They
up.
don't want to talk to us. We want to talk to them.
Nobody's
Right.
coming up tonight, so but I'm just gonna kind of let it go where it wants to go tonight.
Yeah, the only ones you get on the atheist lives, the only theists who will come up on stage are Phil Bros. That I mean, not all, but most. Mostly, all you're going to see is the guys who just love doing the philosophy stuff and throwing out the big words and looking like they're really smart. Really, it's all nonsense.
We had a really frustrating guy here last time. It kind of got to me because he was just like, I'm a believer. I'm right. You guys don't believe. You believe in that we came from monkeys, and we kept trying to explain to him. And
Yeah, I was there. I was there for that one.
oh, were you? That was it.
Didn't we?
That was like that was a
We
basic.
had the
It was entertaining for some, but it was a shit show. So it was one of those
It
types
was.
of things.
Like everything we were saying to him was just going right out the other side of his head. He wasn't
Yeah.
listening.
the alien
Nothing.
Anunnaki type.
Godek in the comments said he's a theist. He wants to come up.
All right, I'll let him come. He hasn't been here for a bit. I didn't see a request, but he's always welcome.
All right, well, maybe then I was gonna tell you what my favorite go-to and what I was gonna bring up in that conversation where I got dumped was. Maybe we can do that here, but I'll wait.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask him.
Hey, Godek, what's on your mind?
Hello, Phil. What's up, Phil? How you doing?
Oh, I'm having sort of a last Friday show here. I'm going to start doing this once a week, so on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Sounds
Yeah.
like a great day.
It is, yeah. Just fewer people doing it on Wednesdays, so that'll help. I was just saying that there's the material is kind of covered, so I don't have to
your
feel as.
volume is only coming through one ear. I don't know if you're aware.
Is it really?
Audio
I
settings,
like
yeah.
Wednesday because
Let me
it's
let me
like
see
in
if
the
I
middle.
can
Yeah,
find
it's a
that.
little bit like hard.
Because I got
Wants it in
headphones in.
stereo,
Usually you
baby.
come in through both headphones, but it's only coming through one.
Okay.
I'm a Beast, by the way.
Actually, it should come. It
What's up,
should be
Omar?
coming through both.
Right.
I've got two channels coming on OBS.
Yeah, it's
really
weird. I don't know
important.
if you did something different tonight. Usually it try to unplug your set and then replug it in and see if that works.
If he's showing two channels receiving signal, then unplugging and replugging is not going to do it.
Let me
Yeah.
check some settings while you guys are.
Because I can
chatting,
hear
so-
everybody else through both
Yeah,
both speakers, but
I've had that
you
problem
was-
before. I thought I'd been away from it, but let me just go through some
Yeah, I
settings
do
on
agree
the
with Omar.
software.
It's very important to me that I get you in both holes.
Okay, how's that? Is that any better?
Perfect. Yeah. What did you do? What did you do?
I mean, it sounds okay.
I went
right?
on. I just went on the TikTok software and did convert to mono, so you should be getting it in both
Yeah,
ears
I would
now.
say
Yeah,
it
I hear
sounds
you
good.
now.
Cool. I actually learned something. Thank
That was
you.
God moving through me, brother, to give you that message.
I appreciate that. I
Promised
appreciate
you
that.
both with the
I'm gonna
picture.
give you credit, Omar. I'm gonna give you full credit though. I'm an atheist, so hey Dumblebee, how you doing?
So what we got tonight, man? I'm a monotheist.
I'm doing all right. How are
What's
you
on the
doing?
table?
A monotheist?
Yeah.
Monotheist.
Well, we were talking about James was talking about doing a book about how to answer Christian apologetic arguments, and then I started to put up a couple of books that I like. So we were kind of on that topic generally.
It's interesting. Like when you deal with Christianity, it's very important to know that not all Christians are Trinitarians. Not all Christians see Jesus as God. So that's
Right.
very
That's why you called yourself a monotheist, right?
right.
Is there like 4,000 different denominations of Christian? Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
The-
Omar.
The problem
ex-
is so many people manipulate scriptures and
Yes.
and
So
that's
my
why we have so
question
many denominations.
for that would be like, if that's the case, then why should we believe any of it?
I give you some wisdom. So the key is don't really take man's interpretation of it. If you study the Bible, look at it genuinely for what it is, and then if you find fruit in some of the messages, then apply it to your life. That's
Wait,
always been my rule.
But you could say that with any book.
Absolutely, cartoons, movies, books, anything. You can learn from anything.
But
Like,
wait, you said to consider it for what it is. What is it, and how do we know what?
Before
it
you go,
is?
I wanted to ask something to Omar too. Like when you say monotheistic, would that be the definition? Like you believe like in the spirit of Christ?
No,
So
no, no. So monotheist is I believe that there's only one creator of all creation.
okay, but
Yeah,
like that's like nameless or
yeah, yeah. I mean, there no human would know that name. Now you can say titles like Most High, I am that I am, etc., etc.
So is
God,
it a,
you know.
is it a conscious being, or is it just like an energy?
It's a concoction of many things. So uh, everything comes from a
Wait a
thought.
minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You
So what I
started
mean
out
is
with a
like,
mono god. Now it's a concoction god. You
no,
see how
they're
that
just
doesn't work?
So think about you as a human. You're not just a physical being. You're
right?
conscious. You're electrical. You're liquid.
Okay,
You're
but
Yeah.
wait.
physical.
But the
But
whole
All those are
point.
physical
Hold on.
aspects.
yeah, those are
The whole.
physical aspects of my being.
Yeah, wait. The whole
No,
point in
consciousness
saying.
isn't physical.
Wait, Omar.
Well,
Omar.
Yeah,
it's
it
an
is.
emergent property from our brain, which is physical.
It's
Okay,
not
Yeah,
hold
just
on.
that. So if you project the heart in your
Jesus.
consciousness right now, can I touch it? No,
Okay,
it's not
wait,
that
physical.
Omar.
doesn't mean that's not.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Omar.
Yeah.
Omar. It seems to me the whole point in saying that you're a monotheist was to oppose the Trinity, right? Was that not really the main reason that you said that?
Not necessarily. I don't follow Jesus. I follow God, the creator of all
Okay.
creation.
Okay, but
Right.
again, the first thing you said after you were a monotheist was to go into not all Christians believe in the Trinity. So it seems to me your number one purpose was to refute the Trinity.
More so because of the title of the room. The host has a different title than he normally has.
Oh my
And
God.
so I just wanted to point that out that, when you deal with Christianity, it's important to know that not all Christians see the scriptures the same. That's all.
Okay, but you are specifically a monotheist, which means you're not a Trinitarian, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, the thing about the Trinity is that they are three components, which basically is the same thing as what you started to say about your monotheistic God, that it has components.
No, it's much different. Much different. The word,
How?
when you research the Trinity concept, that's not even in the Bible. Now, people have taken scriptures out of context to manipulate that position. But when you study the origins of the Trinitarian doctrine, you will find that it, it came from manipulated scriptures from a person's
Yeah,
perspective, and
right,
then
but
certain
what's the
people with.
difference?
The difference is they're looking at the Holy Spirit, the being known as Jesus, and God as three different beings that are simultaneously experiencing creation
You're just
simultaneously.
you continue to just describe the Trinity, which I have a really good understanding, not that it makes sense, but I have a good understanding of the things they say about it, which you're just repeating. What I'm wondering is what's the difference between them and their Trinity and you and your composite monotheism?
Well, when you look at the Creator, when you talk about all there is and all there ever will be, that's the sum total of all existence is what God would be. You can't put it in a box. You can't say, well, what is God made of? Nobody can prove that.
Okay,
Right.
so the God that you're talking about, does it have a spirit component?
Yeah, of course.
You can say that, yes.
Okay, does it have a physical component?
Of course, it's everything.
It's everything.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm just trying to find out just three things
You're trying to
specifically.
divide it. You can divide as much as you want, but it encompasses everything, even this conversation.
Okay, so but then this means that calling it a trinity, seeing it as being split into three specific
Dude,
uh,
you can split
parts
it in
is
You
not
3,000
can't split
million.
God up though, brother. That's the issue with the
okay. But
Trinitarian
you
doctrine.
are
No, you're only seeing it like that from a humanly standpoint.
Right.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
just
can't.
like, so let me ask you this. When you drive a car, are you that car, or are you using that car to take you from one point to another?
I think you're
That's
only seeing it from a human standpoint.
The
So
car
it's
is
like a
Walking,
body.
completely
You're
different
didn't
inside
make
a
any
body
sense.
entity.
experiencing
We're all
a
talking.
physical experience.
That was a good response,
This is
Chris.
so trippy, right? Omar is good, man. I like you. Where are you, Omar?
What?
I'm in Atlanta,
In
Georgia.
Atlanta?
Atlanta, Georgia.
So
That's
dope.
relevant.
Say hi from Texas, man.
It's a nice
All the way.
city.
Let's,
Good to meet
Nice
you.
let's
city,
stick with
Atlanta.
this. I like where it's going. I really do.
So
Yeah, so
Omar,
for me, if you want to know me, like the reason why I'm
uh,
leaning more towards a creator than not, it's more wise for me to go down that path than to just say, hey, no, there's no creator of all creation. Because when I
why?
start to look at the issues with the Big Bang and when I look at science as a whole, there are a lot of questions
Omar,
that can't be answered.
What's
so
that
I
got
have
to
a
do with
question.
Hmm.
If you see this like God, right? Like this being of all, like what do you think it's the purpose of like the humans? Like what are we doing in your
So humans, through our sensory organs, we're taking in data or experiences. We're experiencing this experience that we call reality, that we call life. And so this higher intelligence is taking in that data and is learning
right?
through that experience.
Yes.
So, for example, if you are the creator of all things, knowing, you're all knowing, the only dilemma is that you know everything. And so
Yeah.
imagine you
It's
created
like
something.
we could be like the liver of some being.
Say it
whatever's
again.
going on right now.
Like
I
we
have
could be
oil.
the liver. Our organs are made of like some other creatures that are alive inside us.
Can we do
We
one
do have
theist at a
bacteria
time?
inside
This
of
is
us,
getting
so we
weird.
do. It
Exactly.
is a
That's what I mean.
symbiotic
Like
relationship. Yeah.
we could see it as that, right? Like the humans are like a part of like a higher being.
Yeah. I can see where you're going.
Okay,
Okay.
so anyway, we were talking about how you have a concoction that makes up God, and somehow that's different than the Trinity. And
What?
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's different because they're saying that, like for example, I had a debate with a Trinitarian. I said,
You're
well,
gonna tell me what they say again?
I'll give you the Trinity if you say that everything is a part of God and there's hierarchy. So you may have messengers, you may have things within the Creator that have a role. The
Right.
same way that in the
So you
human,
actually break it down further than the Trinitarians do.
right?
So how do you come to this conclusion?
Just studying life, because we're
Right.
limited technologically,
Yeah, well,
and
like,
so
I
because we're
heard you
limited.
bring up I heard you bring up the like the analogy that it's like humans and that like bacteria is in humans, but like okay, if that's all God, do these things have separate minds?
Yes,
Okay.
just like you have a different consciousness than me.
This is a
Yes.
very strange monotheism. The math doesn't add up.
Wait, yeah, this okay. So one sec. So all of this, okay. Well, it's not analogous to me and you having different consciousness because we're talking about God here. We're two separate entities, so I don't see how that
We're
tracks.
separate, but we're still connected. No
Right.
matter if you're an
We are
atheist,
not
a
connected.
theist, no matter if you're a Satanist, a
Yeah.
Luciferian, a Christian, a Jew,
We are
Wait,
literally
no,
everybody,
no, 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 no.
connected. We're
When you
everybody
say we're
has to.
connected, what do you mean? No,
I
when you
so
say we're
quantum
connected, what do you
physics
mean?
coming on.
So I give you an example. Every being, regardless of what you believe in,
Gonna say
we're
energy.
all inhaling and exhaling this atmospheric gaseous experience known as air. No matter who you are, where you are in the world,
What
we're
about the
all
people on the
connected.
space station?
Huh?
What about the people on the space station?
That's fake.
In a
A man
bubble.
has never been to the moon.
That's fake.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody's
Oh,
been to.
Whoa.
I got too many clips
Away
of
we
them,
go.
with this,
Oh no.
green
Yeah, we
screens
don't
and
want to go in this
showing and all
direction.
of
My
this.
bad.
Wait,
we need to explore
I
that one
think
day.
like
Like
you're like
as soon as
greatly
we
misunderstand.
need
So
to
because we
answer
all
that.
breathe the same air, that somehow connects us, and that in a way that like we're all God.
Dumble.
I mean, you got to give them that's a very Hebrew way to view it.
Yeah, I'll give you a better example. If you go to the ocean right now and you take a cup with you
Right.
and you scoop some water from the ocean, what's inside that cup, it came from the ocean, but it is not the ocean.
Oh, now
It
he's
doesn't
Buddhist.
become the ocean until you pour what's inside the cup back into
Yeah,
the ocean. Then
that's
it's
like
Well, I
unified.
didn't come out of you, so like,
No, I
Well,
understand. No, I understand.
well.
but if you're calling the ocean God and that we're all cups of water, like from the ocean,
Dumble.
I don't see how
A
that
question.
follows.
Are you
No, I get
familiar
it.
with
Seems
I'll
seems
give
like
you.
the word God doesn't
never
really
mind
have
it.
any meaning if you say that everything is God.
right.
It's pointless.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Necessarily.
Give it a point.
Well,
Yeah.
why don't we
So
just say the universe
so
is the universe and be done
are
with
you
it?
like wait? You're like a panentheist.
I wouldn't just
Yes.
leave it at just the universe because when you When
I would
you
call him
like,
a
if you
Buddhist.
ask someone, can you get something from nothing? You can't get something from nothing.
Like
I
it's a
think
We
the
very
don't
difference
claim
is
Buddhist
that.
way to look
That's
at it.
When
the
not
you
idea that there's a
related. That's not
consciousness that
related.
unites it. That
no,
would
no, but
just
what I'm
Yeah,
saying, if you
it's like
have
some buzzword.
like if you have intelligence and I have intelligence, that intelligence came from somewhere else that's responsible for that
Omar, can I
intelligence.
pose a hypothetical to you?
Hmm.
What if we find life on another planet?
Oh, they're
Then,
definitely like
then what?
Then what? I don't know. Like you went into this
How are
whole
they connected?
right.
But
Everything
apparently
is
we
all.
didn't go to the
Everything is
moon,
one.
so
Yeah, they aren't breathing the same air as us. We can't. Yeah, we aren't connected. It's unfortunate.
Hmm.
everything is alive. You can't consider everything.
Wait,
I'm
so
just
also like
Yeah, but
go
uh,
ahead.
yeah, never mind. I forgot what I was gonna say. It'll come back to
Just
me.
gonna say to
so
Dumbo, like
I'm
you
curious,
told
Omar
we.
and Godek. I guess you're both monotheists, right?
I mean, I do uh, understand Omar's point. Like it's very close to what I understand as well. Like I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I just say faith, but I don't know if that applies to me. Like I used to practice different religions, right? Like I'm a person that likes to live by empirically. You know, like I experience stuff and then I make my mind about it because if I experience it's like definitely real. You know, it's real to me. Nobody can come and tell me like, oh, this or that. Or, it's like, no, dude, I was there. So going through all this like different sects or like religions, call it, I end up kind of like resigning to all of like I didn't fit in any of them, so I just kind of like create my own, right? So I started to like,
Kind of like those crazy experiences that you had, right?
what you mean?
Okay, so
Nothing.
we're not we're not
So
talking
I
about a
got a question
biblical
for you,
belief in
James
God.
and Vigil. I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that you have discernment? That you're intuitive?
That I'm intuitive. What do you mean?
Like, do you have discernment
Intuition.
to a point where if you met somebody and let's say if you had some knowledge that you wanted to share with that person, if you can sense and detect that that person didn't have pure intentions, would you waste your time with them?
Yes.
Yes, I would because I could be wrong, right? Like it's just
No, I'm saying if you knew for a fact what you had
can't
could
know for
change
a
their
fact.
life and they you know, they didn't
Or,
have the
or
best
are you trying to say that
intentions.
we aren't like trying
I
to listen
don't
to you
know
with good
this
faith?
person, correct?
Yeah,
Just
like
Do
walk
I
with
know
me.
this
you're
person?
not
You know,
accepting
let's
it.
reason for a second. So I'm just trying to
Whoa, too
Okay.
many
paint
people
a picture.
talking.
So what I'm saying is, in life, have you ever met people where you're like, nah, I'm not gonna waste my time with that person because they're not genuine. Have you
Right.
done
Not
that in your life?
without some sort of action, not without some sort of behavior to
Yeah,
tell me.
yeah. Regardless, you know, have you ever? It's kind of
Well,
like what detectives do. You know, people,
yeah, let me
detectives that are good
let,
at what they do, they can connect certain dots, and people are good what they
yeah,
do
That's
by.
not
I can answer that
intuitive.
with a little more.
we'll
Hold on.
That,
Let me answer for myself. So I hear voices in my head like that all the time, right? Not literally voices in my head, but
Mhm.
these intuitive senses that I already know where this is going, that I don't need to waste my time.
Right.
But I don't really listen to it very often because I know that it's very often wrong. That quite often my intuition is going to lead me the wrong direction. And in fact, most of the time it does, and it ends up bad if I listen to it. So I actually I put it on the shelf. I remember that my intuition told me this, and I tread carefully, but I continue on. I don't just throw people off the stage because of the first inclination that I don't like what they had to say, unlike most theists I meet.
Do you think that you can practice that and get better at it? And the reason I asked
But
that is I
Yes.
did something cool one time where I won the lottery, Georgia lottery. We have something called Cash Tree. I won 3 days in a row, and that was fascinating to me. So, and it
Okay.
came from
Do it
using
again.
intuition.
yeah,
Uh,
do it again.
oh, is
yes,
it? Do you think it was like divine intuition or something?
yeah. It's so what you do is there's the physical component. So what I did in the South, we call it a workout. And so I don't know where you live, but I'm pretty sure every state has a similar lottery system where you have to guess between 000 and 999. I mean, you would basically take the winning number, you would take it through a mathematical breakdown, and then from there, you can use intuition to determine which number has a higher probability of winning. And so,
How many people
um,
do you think used that same process at the same time and they got it wrong?
well, most people that I find, they just use the physical component. Some people use dreams, their dream books.
That's not. Hold on. That's not
Omar,
what I
do you
asked.
What
think
did you
you could?
say?
Okay.
I'm just trying to share,
Omar,
but
do
hey,
you?
you get, I bring a lot
Omar,
of
could you please
fruit.
just like
So
cut the meta out? Can you just try to
Omar,
tell
can
us
you repeat
what
the
you
last
mean
thing
by
you said?
this?
You said that they use the dream.
yeah, some people use, like, if you dream, let's say, about a dog.
Jeez.
If you
These
look
are
this
always
up online,
interesting.
there are dream books, and then certain figures will
People use all kinds of
have
stuff.
certain
But
numbers
Tim,
Yes, let them
associated with
talk.
those
I
figures.
want to.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
we want to have the
I'm
God
just saying, bro.
argument.
I put this on my life. I've won a lottery 3 days in a row. That's not some, So when you
God, it
win
wants
three
to
days,
win the
not
lottery.
once, not twice, but 3 days straight, you have
Dude,
to humble yourself and say, hey, it's
Yeah,
something
I've
to.
won
you
two or
guys
three
have to
So
bucks 3
respect
days
Omar.
straight too.
Like let him talk because he's giving you like the key to like win the freaking lottery, and you guys
No,
just
he's
keep
not.
interrupting.
No,
No,
he
he's
is not.
not.
No,
It's
I just wanted to
unbelievable.
like give
No,
me
that's not what
his
he was
point.
doing.
He's like, I want him to cut out all the
If
meta. I don't
if
care
that
about
was
yeah,
this.
the
I just want
point,
to.
yeah. So
why didn't
I
he win
cut
the
to the
lottery
chase.
4 days
What
in a
I'm
row
trying to
or
say
five
is,
days in a row?
Okay,
like what the
okay,
guy
okay.
said.
Go
Let
ahead,
me
cut
cut
to
to
the
the chase.
chase. Yeah.
So what I found is interesting. I can't prove this using scientific methods, but what I found interesting in this reality is that when you have pure intentions, when you're humble, there's an intelligence that can detect
Excuse me.
that, and the more you're curious about life, certain things will reveal itself. So if you want to learn the mysteries of creation, you humbly say, hey, I want to learn more
Amen.
about X, Y, and Z. When you go down a
You
particular
think?
path, you will start to see very fascinating things, and that's what made me who I am today. So that's why for me, I could never be an atheist, because based on my experiences. But it started with me
You
being
believe in?
humble.
Wait, wait,
But
wait.
when
So
you're
you're
like,
saying that if you don't go out and research things, things will come to you given time.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is, if you have the
Amen,
desire
Omar.
to research, then when you couple that with pure intentions, there's an intelligence that can
Pure
detect that.
intentions.
That's why I use the analogy of when
Whatever, dude.
somebody has a
Dude, this
negative.
Omar is onto something, man. Like
But
for real,
listen,
you should listen to what he's saying.
Prosperity
listen.
gospel.
A
No,
What's
person,
prosperity
a
gospel?
person can
Attraction.
use those same detective skills or whatever, go out and find this
you
information
guys don't get it.
and still
Like
get the same result,
Any good
right?
scientist that you talk to, the one thing that they have is that they're very open to all the possibilities. Because if you're stuck in your way,
before,
Science
you're
is
gonna
always
taint
open.
you're gonna taint the experiment. You have to
One
be
of the good things
open-minded.
about it.
You have to
Yeah,
be
but
humble.
you're not like
I
that.
actually, I
Hold on.
actually do know this intelligence. It's my uncle. His name's, his name's Phil. Oh,
Phil.
not this Phil up here. It's a different Phil. Yeah, I saw him last Tuesday. It was pretty awesome. This intelligence, yeah, it totally exists. I saw him last Tuesday.
I just have one last question for
Phil,
Omar, and I'll
can
shut up.
I ask you a question?
Godek, I wish you wouldn't.
Please, let me ask this. It's a real quick question, then I'll shut up.
You want to ask a Phil?
Omar, if this process that you speak of for the lottery and stuff is true, how come you haven't won the lottery 4 days in a row or 5 days in a row or since this happened?
So I'm not a gambler. So for me, I'm just one who is. Yeah, I mean,
Not
it
a
sounds funny,
gambler,
bro.
but
But if you knew
you
me in
went
real
on,
life and
tried to win the
look
lottery
me up,
3
bro,
days in a
I'm
row.
not just like some quack from, I've done some cool things in life. But yeah, so
I get it, and
my
I think you
intentions
should
have.
attribute those cool things to yourself, brother. Like you did those things.
Right.
You went out and researched this information and got all of this information to do those things. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit.
No, absolutely. I give myself credit, but what I'm saying that I've learned that there's a certain divine methodology that we can
why
use
does
to
why does
make
God
life more
care?
pleasant. So,
Why does God care about you
and
winning?
what happens, like when I give an example, I beat 3 criminal cases without an attorney representing
jeez.
myself. I didn't go
Always
to
three.
bar, I
Okay.
didn't go to
Yeah.
law
Well,
school or
what's it
anything
with
like
the
that.
threes,
Omar,
man?
Omar, there's a good question laid down there. Why does God care?
Care about what? As far as what? Be specific.
Why does God care about people, I guess? Or what people do?
Because of the experience.
Well, why did God care that you wanted to win the lottery? Let's do that.
Well, God was showing me something. I was on a journey because that's what I asked for when I was
That
very
was-
young. I had an out of body
Yeah,
experience,
I knew about this.
and it was so profound. I said,
my
"Well, God,
uncle,
I
he
want to
took
know
him on
more
a
about
journey.
this."
How is this
We don't-
intelligence function any different than prayer?
You don't land planes, do you?
Yeah, prayer is very powerful. Do you agree that there are certain chemical reactions that take place in the body depending on your
What
mood?
the hell? I'm done.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, perfect. Yeah, because we can prove that placebos, for example, in the medical field, we see that even though that so-called placebo wasn't designed to do anything, but based on the power of the mind, it created a result in the body. So,
You realize that this is just a chemical process within the brain, right?
absolutely. But I'm just trying to give you an example. If we're going to have a productive conversation, we have to find a middle ground. So I'm trying to
Right.
use things that you guys relate to, like scientific
No,
experiments, and on
no.
top of,
No, you're being
No,
very
I think most
respectful,
of
and
these guys are very like negated to listen to anything.
I've listened to everything he said. I've had so many questions for the man. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It was just maybe my perception, but Omar is saying some interesting stuff here.
yeah, like I had a guy that had some, like I had a buddy, he had a three, he had a,
Another three?
yeah, another three, yeah. He had three felonies in the state of Florida. I did a habeas corpus for him. I helped him beat his case. And I had another buddy that had some stuff going on. I tried to help him, but he was very stubborn, stuck in his ways. I know this, I got it,
Omar, can
and
I
he's
ask you a
having trouble.
question?
Hold on, let me say this. He's still having issues. So I meet people where I try to give them stuff, and either you're receptive to it or you don't. So you don't ever want to block like me. I'm the type of person. I don't care if you're white, black, Christian, Jew, atheist. If you have something that's fruitful through wisdom, I'm going to take that in and apply it to
So
my
the
life.
guy
So
wasn't willing to give you any information or anything. He didn't gain anything from you.
yeah, because he was stubborn.
This is one of
So
those.
there's a science to
The
being
way
humble. When
So
you're
the
humble,
one who
you're
gave you
able to
all the
receive things.
information about his case, the one who got with you and was friendly and everything, got all this
He
information
benefited,
about
yeah,
his case,
exactly.
helped
Yeah,
him win. But the
mhm.
one that you knew nothing about, just because he was stubborn,
No,
you
no, I know
didn't.
both of them. They're both friends in real life.
So this is the thing. The way Omar is talking, he could walk into a room full of believers in anything, and they'll believe everything he says.
You think I'm lying? You want to see You want to see
I
court
think
cases? What do
I
you want to see?
yeah,
Receipts for the lottery? Like
I
what do
think
we need
you
to do?
have
he needs evidence.
nothing to offer but word salad and a lot of it.
But I can demonstrate this though.
Omar, can I ask you a question?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to ask you if for you it's like a very important part, or how you understand the ritual. If you practice a ritual, okay, and if you do, could you choose like a simple one, like something that like it's very effective and never failed to you, like
Yeah, I got
again?
3 car problems. If you could head on over, since
Yeah,
three
one
is pretty
ritual is just
important.
being in a constant state of gratitude.
I like that.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, this whole thing about
Simple,
everything's in
effective.
threes with this guy is really funny, being that he's just against the Trinity completely.
Yeah, it's
Trinity.
interesting. Like when I started
Hey,
to be
Phil,
aware of numbers,
Phil, do we got any
one
more people
cool
in the
thing that would
box?
happen, I would randomly get in the car, and the car in front of me
Hold
would
on one
have.
sec. What's that, Dumblebee?
We got any more people in the box, or?
No, no. I'm looking.
Oh.
He's the best we've got. Oh boy.
Omar, I just want to say that I do respect you, and I respect your process and your experience. I may disagree with the cause of your experience, but it's no disrespect. So I
Hey
appreciate you.
Omar,
Appreciate you
I have
Sure,
sharing.
my brother.
another question. Like when you have this like whole God, right? Like the encompass of everything. Do you see like, do you subdivide that? Like, are there like demigods, like gods that are like smaller than God, maybe? And do you interact with them? Have you ever like experienced this aspect of like dealing with different like energies, or calling like entities? There might be just like energies.
No, I like to
Both.
deal directly with with God. I don't go through ancestors like some people worship ancestors and
Right.
worship. I don't do all of
What about leprechauns?
that.
Yeah.
Guys are
I
facetious,
disagree.
man. Why you guys so facetious, man?
I don't have respect for this kind of behavior, because this is exactly what an occult leader does. You just make a bunch of promises, you say a bunch of nice things to people, you just talk forever about how wonderful things will do if you just follow the process that I'm leading you in, blah blah blah. And a bunch of people give people like this guy money, They give up their possessions to him.
Dang, man. Why
They
so?
drink his
They
Kool-Aid.
make
Where does your baggage
assertions
come
that
from?
they
Have you?
cannot.
Shit.
They make assertions they can't back. Like
Baggage
there's a divine
very
intelligence that
yeah.
they
Hey
can
James, let me see
interact
something.
with.
James, pick a
They're
number
saying
1
like
through
you're
10
selling
and
this
don't
shit.
tell me
Like,
what it is. Let me see if I can guess it.
Omar, where do you make your? What do you
You ready?
work at? Like, what?
Yeah.
Where do you actually make
got
Why?
the
your money?
number in your
Why?
mind?
Why, Omar? Why?
I just want to see something.
Hold on.
He's calling us divine intelligence, dude. It's
I'm
gonna
gonna,
be awesome.
I'm gonna put it in front of the
Wait.
camera.
Okay.
Wait, I
And
got
right
something
when you
better.
say it, I'm gonna turn the camera on. Okay.
Wait, let's put some
I
water
will
on the
also,
altar.
What's going
call
on?
out to the atheist baby, and I'll see if I can
I love the
Hold on.
atheist
correctly.
babies. I love
Hold
the
on, guys.
atheist babies.
Did
Hold
somebody
on,
pick
guys.
7?
What's going on?
What is that?
Oh,
I have no
it's
idea.
the 90-minute alarm that TikTok does.
Dude, this scared the shit out of
He
me.
thought
Has
it
my
was God,
number.
man. He got
And
nervous.
I'm
He thought it was
turn the
God.
camera
Okay,
on.
Omar,
No, it's TikTok.
Omar.
Y'all
Wait, let's
messing
raise
around.
the ante.
Oh my god.
Let's put some water on the altar, if you know what I mean. If
I
you read the
don't
Bible,
know.
you know what I'm talking about. So this is the test. If you ask me, if we are going to try to prove you have some sort of divine intervention thing going on here, that what's going to happen is everyone on the stage is going to pick a number, including our host, and it's all going to end up being the same number, and you're going to tell us what it is.
Just try it.
Wait, no. And then I'll also guess using the power of the atheist baby. You know, I'm
atheist
calling the
baby. I
divine
like that,
power.
man.
So Omar,
everybody
you
pick
go
a number 1
first,
through
and then I
10.
will guess.
Everybody got their number. Hold it in your mind. Project it in your mind. Project it
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
consciousness.
Predicted.
I'm seeing it.
I feel like somebody has 1 for some reason.
For some reason.
I'm
Guys,
feeling
you gotta-
like
Okay,
somebody
Omar, are
has.
you locking that in? Are you locking in 1?
Wow.
Anybody have 1?
That's called cold
said-
reading.
All right,
dude.
okay, wait. Now I will lock. Okay, I'll give my answer. I'm locked.
You
I'm
realize
locking
you
in
have a
with
6
7
out of 10
earlier, but-
chance. You have
But
a
is it-
Somebody
is it not
has
four
one
chance
when
you
there's
say,
like
I feel
when
like
there's 6
somebody.
people, when there's 5 people here, somebody has 1 is not a good prediction.
This
I
is
mean,
the worst.
how
odds
about
are
4?
pretty good. You know, take
Nope.
any one
James,
person.
did you have 4?
It's funny though, but you know you can practice.
You know what's
practice.
absolutely fucking funny is yes, I did have 4.
See, that's it. That's the power of the atheist baby. I channeled it. I manifested, and there we go.
And I'm not fucking lying, dude. I put that on my daughter's
No,
license.
seriously. Before I
Like, it
leave,
was
try
4.
that. Like
Motor
next time you
and
go
it-
to
but
the
you know-
store. Hold on, let me say
but
this
you
real
know
quick
what,
before I
Omar-
leave. Hold on, real quick. Like if you go to the store, just like
He's like
randomly
Chris
when you're dealing
Angel.
with the cashier, just
Yeah.
try to guess their birthday. Just start practicing it and see how much better you get at it.
I do
So
not
what-
have the
Wow.
social aptitude.
By
to
the
do
law,
that.
dude.
I'm not gonna.
Omar, what's the
Wow.
most powerful number?
All numbers are powerful.
It's
No, no, no.
obviously 1 and 3 at the
The
same
one, the one. Give us the one number.
3.2.
Omar, what's
And
your
three.
favorite? What's your favorite number?
Yeah, yeah.
Give us your favorite number.
That's
0.
good. 0?
0.
Yeah, because 0 is a symbol that
So look.
represents potentiality. All things come from 0.
Uh-oh, don't start talking
Oh.
about symbols.
Something can
created
come from
zero.
nothing. Omar says something can come from nothing.
He did,
What?
didn't he?
What human
So what-
created? What human created
what-
0? Like the concept
What
of
Omar, hold on. What Omar did with that whole prophecy thing just now with the numbers was the pigeon throwing the chess table over and claiming victory. Right? That was what he did. What he did is
Yeah.
he went and got a hairdryer and dried off the altar before lighting it on fire.
What?
Why so negative, man?
Yeah, I didn't
what
get
is your
that.
baggage
far.
come
And
from?
all I'm saying is that atheist baby is 1-0 against divine intelligence. I'm a, my record's standing pretty nice.
Definitely got the win on that one, bro.
Well, everybody's obsessed here with numbers.
Anyways, Omar, why does Chris have to have baggage to question your? Like, I don't get it.
Because
What-
he just thinks so negative. You know, I'm just curious, like what happened on his journey that makes him so negative.
Why is it
So
negative?
weary-
Wait.
weary of
He said
people.
Said it in
What
a very
happened-
respectful way that he just has no respect for things like this. Like, he didn't yell at you. He didn't call you a name. So, like, why is it negative?
Well, I was
I can hear the
negative towards
tone. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't a negative.
Yes,
I
there
would,
was.
I would
It's
say
just
that
the
it comes
intent.
back to what we were saying about humility too.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
some
this guy!
people
Oh my
lack it.
god!
So gratitude, it's incredible easy. We'll
I
say
said
it's hard too. Like people can't be like in that state of gratitude.
Okay, so I did say very negative things. I said I have no respect for the kind of behavior that he is portraying here. I said that very clearly. I do not respect Omar and his behavior and the way he manipulates people, like Godek. Godek is the perfect example of a manipulatable fool, and Omar.
Whoa. No,
Man,
let's not go.
that's-
Let's not go.
Okay, sorry. I'll back it up. You're
Yeah.
just manipulatable, okay? I'm sorry, but you're manipulatable. You're ready to just believe. You're
I
the guy
like
I was
what Omar
talking
says.
about.
I'm not gonna like fucking join his cult.
I know that's what he's saying. Like,
But you're prepared to join a cult. You are
I'm
ready
not,
for it.
bro. Like
You-
I
you
already
are.
went through that thing. I am
Why,
in my
why you don't
cult.
believe in your brother, man? What's so negative, man? Talk to me about this. What happened?
You're
to
only
you,
proving my
What
point.
happened to you, bro? You crying?
I've seen a lot of people hurt by a
Crying
lot
a
of people
lot?
like yourself.
Ah, I get it now. I understand now.
No, you didn't even let me finish my sentence. How do you possibly get it now?
Because Omar's
Fucking get
fucking smart, man.
because you saw somebody
There's
get
that divine intelligence.
advantage of.
Yeah, God's intervening again. Such a lucky guy.
You guys need to read more Bibles.
Oh,
More
wow.
Bibles? How about more not Bibles? We need to read more not Bibles.
Let's read books.
Godek. We need to
Just
yes,
make sure you read
books. One
I read lots of books.
one
buddy.
Bible once is
Good,
enough.
good for you.
Wait, I was
Read other
getting the
books.
impression that your beliefs in
Read
God.
this book.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I was getting the impression that Omar and Godek did not have a biblical basis for their belief in God.
I
Like,
was
was
getting
I
that
wrong?
too.
Like I use the Bible, but not really. Like a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay. So
But
why
we,
are you telling us?
but
to
we
read
need to
Bibles?
read more Bibles, right?
Just a joke, dudes. Chill.
Oh,
Read
Okay.
books in general.
well, good thing
There you
we
go.
made a joke out of it then.
This week alone, brother, I have probably read 5 books. How many have you?
Wow.
I was like,
What's your
like
What's your
that.
favorite book?
Yeah.
and
What's
why?
your
I have a favorite book, but my favorite my favorite
Out of the last 5, James.
genre would be just nonfiction. Anything that's happened. You know, I love reading about history. I love and Howard Zim's
People's History of the United States.
People's History of the United States is probably, if I had to say, one of my favorite books.
You should read my book, man. I give it to you for free.
Uh-oh.
What's it about?
Metaphysics.
I'll read it. I mean, like, I read books.
There are no answers in metaphysics, only questions.
That's
I
right.
take that offer. I'll get your book, Omar. But yeah.
Yeah, send me your email. I'll send it to you free, man. I don't want to promote my website on the host's channel. On it.
Yo, you
Yeah, man.
feel free. Feel free. Go ahead.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Alright,
You have a
I'll type it.
website?
Yeah. It's 55,000 words. It's pretty cool. Took me 10 years to write it. Self-published.
So what do you make your money, Omar? Like you didn't answer.
Health and
What's your
wellness is
work?
my bread and butter.
What's that?
Health and
Lotto.
wellness.
Can I have a can I
Plays
ask
a
a,
lot of.
can I ask a question? I don't know if you'd be willing to give this information or not, but like, can we get an amount on each of the times you won the lottery?
In total, it was only like 15,000. Wasn't a lot.
Oh man,
It's a
you
blessing.
had us thinking this was actually something significant.
It is very significant.
It was
if you can win
significant
the lottery.
only
Come on.
because I won 3 days in a row. The money was meaningless. It was more about the experience for me.
Yeah.
So would you have same if it
We'll
was
take that off.
$2?
We'll take that off your bankroll if you're not interested.
Right. Matters to me, bro.
Money's meaningless, so I think you should give your book away for free to everybody.
There are charities.
Yes.
If you find that 15,000 not useful to you, there are charities out there who would be quite happy to make good use of.
Yeah, man. Like, money doesn't move me like that, man. I was in the entertainment industry 10 years. I've turned down millions of dollars. You know,
Then why the
15
example of the lotto?
Turned down over 15 TV shows. So yeah, everybody's different, bro. I don't know.
Did you think you were gonna move us with that? Is that why you chose it?
I just thought it was cool. You don't meet many people who won 3 days straight. You know, I thought that was cool. Regardless
Yeah.
of the monetary.
Well,
amount.
I do actually all the time. People who play every single day, every once in a while, win a few days in a row.
Hey, I've done something nobody else in the world has done.
Talk to us. What you
I've won my weight in chocolate.
Uh-oh.
nice.
What?
How do you
That's a
have
lot of
that
diabetes.
much chocolate?
It was a lot of chocolate chips. Yeah. It was at a chocolate convention. You had to guess how many chips were in this big, huge thing, and I won that.
Oh, I was gonna guess
Went
that's
to
what
Willy
you did.
Wonka or something?
What's that?
You went to Willy Wonka?
No, it was in Los Angeles 30 years ago.
I know a guy who won a car by guessing the amount of jelly beans in a jar one time.
Oh wow.
It was like one of those types of things, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But
Somebody
other
has to-
people have won cars. Nobody that I know of that I've ever run to has said they've won their weight in chocolate. So
Yeah, right. It's not common.
it doesn't come up that often.
The question is, did you eat it?
Yeah.
I was 160 pounds at the time. I was a young guy, and I kept 35 pounds. I kept a box of 25 pounds of chips. I kept a 10-pound block, and I sold the rest to a candy store.
What did you do with what you kept?
You're like a dealer.
Just chocolate, just eating, and a lot of baking.
Infused.
A lot of baking.
Infusion.
No, I mean, I had one case of chocolate chips, and it was the brand that this store near me had used to make their chocolates
Right.
out of, so it was good stuff.
Right.
And it would keep.
Right.
I put it in. I put it in Ziploc bags, like a pound at a time, and kept it in the freezer so it would keep forever. And of
Yeah.
course, the 10-pound block is, it's not that big a deal once you start eating on it. So,
Right. Of course.
but
Have we heard anything from Lund on top there? Is that London?
So,
Londo, hey Londo, welcome in. He's usually kind of a listener until he kind of has something to say. So,
What's
is
up?
he a theist?
Hey, believe I'm gonna drop down just so you can bring, a
okay,
Christian or
Omar,
something. All right.
thank
All
you,
right. Good to meet you guys.
thank you
man.
for
Take
swinging
care.
by.
Thank you, Omar.
Buy your book, man.
Awesome, bro. Thank you.
Hey,
man.
Omar, did you want to give your website? I didn't hear it.
Oh, I typed it in the chat. It's onlythetruth.one. ONE.
All right, good. All right,
All right.
take
All
it
right,
easy.
guys. All right, take care.
Drinkthekool-aid.com.
Let me explain it to
Well,
you.
that was pretty fucking something, man. I think I'm gonna drop too because they're just gonna bash on me being the only one left.
See, that's your perspective, man. You got to get used to being pushed back. You know what I mean? Like, it's not coming from a negative place, bro. It's coming from a, like, you say this thing is real. Like, can you please demonstrate how? Because there's no evidence for it.
You're real, right?
Yeah. So,
So what else do you need? It's your experience what I'm talking about.
Real quick, Godek, look, when you came in, he was already here, and you got on your knees for him to begin with. So now is your
What?
chance to stand on your own and represent yourself, so that we don't think of you as just, well, I'm
don't
not going to
care
say
what
the
you
words in my
fucking-
head.
Look, that guy was just very impressive. Like his mind was very brilliant, and I listened to mine like, wow,
Brilliant?
that's all.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe
like very
freaking
interesting stuff.
crazy.
Like I don't
Or-
hear people like that often.
wow.
You're not helping yourself here.
That blows my mind, brother. It really does.
How can you say?
Well,
But
whatever.
Jay,
That's just
you
my
wanna-
opinion,
you wanna
right?
speak
Why do
up?
you care?
Yeah,
yeah, how can you
I
say
don't think I've seen you
brilliant?
up here before.
I
Excuse me?
mean, would you say Joseph Smith was
Oop,
brilliant?
guess
Yeah.
not.
Woo.
I mean,
We
Like-
lost him.
that's what con men are good at. They're good at the smooth talking.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you see they're coming out with a second?
Believe. See if Rick will come up. Send him an invite. Christian folks believe in progressing. I want to hear this.
Okay. Invited.
Definitely not a fact.
Hey Phil, there's this other format where you can like make each like participant have like a time where they talk without interruption. Have you ever used that one?
No, I haven't. There are not too
I've seen
many
another
options on
channel.
the TikTok software here.
I
So.
see it in
What's it
other
called?
channels, and it's very cool the ones that have it because when it gets like really crazy that everybody talks at the same time,
Uh-huh.
you divide it, right? So everybody just gets a minute and they make their point, and then the next one and the next one, and it makes of a really cool conversation.
Yes, obviously. So spell it or say it. What is it called?
I have no idea. I just saw it on some other channel.
Thanks a
I'm just
lot.
like,
Thanks for your help. Really appreciate it.
hey man,
There's a I'm looking at the options. I don't see anything like that, but I'll take
I'm
a
just trying
look.
to help the show, Phil. Man, Phil has a cool shit going on. He
Okay, but you realize that you didn't help at all, right?
Wow. So mean.
Yeah, I'm just trying here, dude. I'm not
I'm
the
just being
fucking
honest.
techno.
Like, no, look,
Soviet,
look.
I barely know how
Okay.
this shit works.
No, hold on. This was very much like what Omar was doing. It's like,
Oh,
no,
oh,
here's the
oh,
answer.
Omar,
There's
you're
an
in love
answer
with
out there.
Omar?
There's totally an
Go
answer
kiss
out there.
his
It's
ass
in
somewhere,
some
bro.
direction over there.
Dude.
Godek.
What's up,
Godek.
man?
Oh, I
Please,
see. I
please.
see. It's a new option.
Pinche
Yeah,
vato
it's a new
mamón.
option.
In TikTok?
Yeah. Here, let me do
Okay.
it. Let me see if
Cool.
hopefully this doesn't cut
You found
anything
it?
off. Yeah,
Well,
it's a
see?
new option, so it just
Yeah,
popped up.
Phil has
Or I
this
mean,
shit.
it wasn't there like 2 weeks ago. I mean, it didn't pop up just a second.
What's it called?
It's called live show.
Okay.
Oh, I have a duration: 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's too long.
1 minute.
Yeah, like
1 minute, yeah.
Like 1:30 or something.
Let me try 1 minute. But
1:25.
I did see in a live where somebody paused one of the guests for a certain amount of time that they couldn't speak.
let's see. Allow mic control. Guests can turn on their mics at any time during the
Oh,
show.
boy.
Oh,
What's-
these check boxes for you?
and then add intervals time for hosting between each performance. Nah. Okay, let's see what this does. Let's see what this does.
We got 35 people. We don't
Okay.
got any.
And it's got
I'm not
ooh,
gonna do that.
showtime.
Oh,
Whoa.
What's
Me
that?
first?
Oh, that's cool. It's Chris first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
didn't mute us,
what's
though.
up, guys?
Oh, it gives each of us a certain amount of time.
Alright.
This
That's
guy
You got-
has like a
you
symbol
got
of
you got a minute
everybody
each.
Israel.
You got a minute each.
Everybody else is talking over my time. What? That's
Yeah,
not how
yeah.
it's supposed to work.
When I've seen it before,
something
it
is wrong.
muted everybody else.
Okay, hold on. I can
What?
turn off their mics. I can turn off their mics.
Yeah, but that's
All right.
like, what's the point? Yeah, okay.
Okay, there. You got a minute.
Yeah, but can they not turn their mics back on? Somebody try to turn it back on. Let's test this out. No? Nobody can turn it back on, I guess. Okay, that works out. You just have to mute it first. But there, now I'm down to freaking less than 15 seconds, man.
It'll come around again.
That's great. Yay for me!
You got a 12-second show. Nice. Oh, no, you're
You all suck!
well, that was great. Enjoyed.
I win.
Okay, next up is James.
funny, man. Like, what if you don't want to concede your time? You know what I mean? Like, what would I do then?
I have a button here that says wrap up, which I guess we'll
Oh,
just put up a sign that says, oh,
It
it
is.
allows me to wrap it up. It allows me to knock you out. All
Yeah.
right. There we go. Bye. So now it's Godek's turn. Godek, you're up. You've got 1 minute.
Awesome. This thing is awesome, right? I really liked it. The last time I was in one, I was like, yeah, this
We're
is the
just
way.
messing with it. Go ahead. You got 45
Yeah.
seconds. What do you want to say to us?
Oh yeah, well, I don't know about like the situation that happened. Like, I just wanted to clarify to whoever was telling me about that other dude. I already forgot his name, but he was like just a cool case. I like what the type of things that he was just like entertaining. I missed out in this dreaming thing. I'm really interested like in this dream, and I'll put out a question to you guys. Like, how do you guys like deal with that aspect of dreaming? Like, what do you guys think it's happening? Because I find it highly weird that we kind of live like two lives somehow. Like, sometimes I have just this vivid dreaming that throws me off sometimes. What do you guys think?
Dreaming. Okay. That's your time then. The next up is Dumblebee.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna stay muted for a while. I'm playing with a friend on a game,
All right.
but
I'm gonna
I'll still stay up.
I'll wrap you
But,
up
yeah,
then. So you want me to wrap
you're
you
just
up?
gonna get rid of me?
You want me to wrap you up, or you want to finish?
No,
your
no,
minute?
no. It's all good.
I'm just playing with this
Yeah.
thing. So, all right,
Hey,
gonna
if
wrap you
any-
up. Go on to Londo.
Uh,
Here comes Londo. Londo, you got 1 minute.
Awesome. So it's interesting that dreams are based off like things you know, like it's something within the mind. It's not like tonight I'm gonna dream of something I don't know, and so I think it's connected. Because think about it. Are you gonna dream of truly a place that you have nothing to know about? I mean, you could, I guess, imagination, but dreams is part of the subconscious. It is part of life. I don't think there's anything supernatural about it. Nothing about some supernatural God or whatever. So sometimes dreams are cool. Sometimes they're just
dreams.
no.
That is it.
Hey.
That's it. End of show. All right. So it was run round.
So I would say that look at the fact that if you have faces in your dream, it's a face you've seen somewhere in life. Your mind cannot create a human face.
You don't miss a beat, James.
Interesting concept.
It is, and it's if you look it up, it's true. Your brain cannot create a human face within your dreams.
I've never heard this. Why would you?
Mine does.
I mean, I would think you could make up. Well, when I dream, I can't see faces.
That's why.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like I can't get close enough to focus on it.
Maybe you don't.
I don't. I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't.
I know for a fact I see
people that I know.
But I know who the people. I know people like I can recognize that I'm with my sister, for example, even though I'm not looking at the face.
Right.
Yeah,
So there's
maybe
that
not all
kind
the
of
time.
thing. What I find fascinating is technology in dreams.
Yes.
What you mean?
Like have you ever tried using Google Maps or something like that in a dream? It's hilarious.
No.
Yeah.
You tried that?
Yeah, I've had several dreams where I've tried to pull up Google Maps and stuff, and it's like it'll come up with the
In
sort
your
of
phone or in a computer?
when I'm dreaming, in a dream on a phone.
Yeah, but I mean, in the dream.
In the dream, it was on a
You
phone.
have a phone.
So I would see this sort of like map-ish kind of looking thing, and it would sort of just kind of move and wouldn't stay still, and it would just kind of keep changing.
Yeah. So people are misunderstanding what I said. I did not say you cannot see human faces in your dreams. I said if you see a human face in your dream, it is somebody that you've seen in real life somewhere, even if it's somebody that you've seen in passing.
How do you know that?
Do you think has it been studied or something?
Yes, it has been studied. You can look it up.
No, there's no reason why the mind can't make up bits of faces. Like you've seen the Truman Show, right? Where he's taking out bits of faces from magazines and putting them all together to make up his girl, right? There's no reason why the mind.
Yes, but it would have to use the face you've seen before.
Can we go back to that other feature where I don't get interrupted? That was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
All right, I'll do it again if you want to see it. It goes through everybody once, so let's see.
I just want to be able to land a sentence, for God's sake.
It's frustrating. All right, Chris, you're up first.
Awesome. I'm always first. That's so cool. I love me. I
Go
can
ahead.
talk and you can't. All right. So there's no reason why a dream can't just make up different features from different faces that it's seen over time. It's the same thing that dreams do in general anyway. I don't buy this. I don't know where you saw this written. I not for a second do I buy this crap. Anyhow, I've got 30 seconds left. All right. So I really would like to talk about who do we got? We still got Godek here, and he is slightly biblical. He said, I'd like to know whether or not Godek, do you believe Genesis is a literal description of the creation of the world? That's what I want to know. And now I've got 20 seconds to go. Man, I'm always short and sweet. Why can't people wait until I'm done talking? It's like, just let me finish. I will. I land planes like an expert pilot. Just give me my time, please, James. I even said that with extra time.
There you go. Well done. And who do we have? We have James is up. James, you're up. Oh, he's not there. Okay, so we'll move on. Godek is up next. Godek, it's you.
What's up?
You
Yeah,
got another minute.
Yeah, and the question of dreams, I just wanted to know who are the ones that can see faces and who are the ones that can't, because Q said that he can and I definitely can, and then James kind of implied that maybe not, and I think you said you don't see faces, so I just found out like information. Cool. And then he asked me a question about something about like if I believe that the biblical are like kind of like facts or something of that nature. I really don't know. Like I read those things and it's like very far out, but um, all religions are pretty far out for what I in my studies. So I just don't know. Like I think some things repeat a lot through cultures, and those are the ones I tend to believe that they might hold some truth or some real event that happened, and it's just trying to teach us something.
Cool. Okay, Londo, it's you. 1 minute.
So I guess, God, I guess the question is try and teach us something, but again, what is true? What evidence do we have that there's any sort of supernatural God or that these things are made up? Like, for example, did Joseph Smith make up the Book of Mormon? Or did Paul make up what he saw on the road to Damascus? Did Muhammad make up these things? I mean, that's the thing is like, did they make it up? Were they lying or were they delusional? Or did they really think they saw it? I guess these are the things that we'd like to know. Like, and yeah. So,
Okay, that'll count. That'll wrap up the show.
yeah.
Well,
I'm
how can
okay,
I ask?
James. Real quick, I did. Whoops. Okay, we're done with the show. I did a quick look up on Google AI here. It says, while some claim your brain can't create entirely new faces, most experts agree that you can dream of faces that appear unfamiliar because your subconscious can combine features from people you've seen before
That's
to
what I'm
create
saying.
seemingly new
Seen them
faces,
somewhere.
even if you even if you don't consciously recognize them. Essentially,
Right.
mixing and matching facial characteristics. So that Truman Show reference, that was it. That was spot on.
I'll take a
Right.
bow here, and James, that is not what you said.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry if I misspoke.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to answer to London.
Cool idea,
London.
though. Go
It
ahead.
is.
Go ahead.
It's why a lot of people don't
Yeah.
see faces in dreams, or you can't, like you see somebody, you know who they are, but you can't see their face.
Yeah, that's weird.
London,
That's
London,
cool.
London was asking something interesting that about the books.
Go ahead. Go
Like
ahead.
this idea of like the sacred books is very interesting to me because I really like to delve into the texts and just compare them and find this like patterns and stuff. And I actually developed a story about this. Like in the Mexican culture, we have this idea of suns, and we actually like entering the sixth sun. So apparently, like if I understand it correctly, like they have this like apocalyptic events, and then like there's another sun. So you would call it like maybe another civilization, another like another stage of like humanity. So in their myth, like something happens at the first stage, right, and the second sun, and the third sun, and so on, right? So what happens if like this happens around the world, right? Like we go through this apocalypse because even the biblical, like the Christian, for example, has that aspect too, right? Of the flooding and that and it has like prophecies of apocalypses, right? So if we are going through apocalypses after apocalypses and like so like only like a little bit of us survive, right? Because they're devastating. So what about the books? Like maybe what we're doing is kind of like we're trying to create as many books as we can so one of them survives. It could be like a sci-fi story or something, and that becomes like the Bible of the next generation, right? This is kind of like my premise of the story that I'm creating, right? So imagine the situation, right? Like we're like trying to save a book. Like you write this book and it's like all the knowledge you can. I don't know if you're like a scientist, right? You're just gathering all this like mathematical knowledge and putting it into like a hard thing that is going to survive the apocalypses, right? That's your mindset of like, we got to save this fucking book. It's like the sacred book. So the ones that we got, it kind of survived the last fucking apocalypses we had. So we are like dealing with maybe with the freaking work of science fiction for all we know. But at the same time, it does hold a lot of like weird things that are kind of like real, you know. So it's very difficult.
Sounds like a fantasy series with
Yeah, but
at least
I mean,
at least six books to it.
but
I
Hell
really
yeah.
want,
why?
I really
Why
want to
do we-
respond to that.
Here's the thing: if we need to, if there's no point. I mean, because if any of this is true, if any religion is true, If all the books of the world were destroyed, if all of them were destroyed, if it's true, then they should come back. Because I can tell you, if you destroyed all the science books in 500 years, they would all come back because we could do the tests. So it would take some time, but all the tests would be repeatable and somebody would be able to figure out how to do it. And all the science books would come back. But I can tell you, if you destroyed all the religious books, they would not come back exactly the same.
Correct.
True. True. Chris, what did you wanted to respond?
Yeah. So I wish Godek would have stopped when he was ahead, as far as I was concerned. Like, because when he first started talking about it, I was like, yes, okay, that I can understand. You expect, if there is a God and it has any influence in the literature or whatever, the creativity of mankind throughout history, then there's going to be like a common ground that you can find across all cultures, all independent, intuitive concepts or whatever, right? You're going to find some sort of patterns. That I can jive with. I could totally jive with that because it's what I'm searching for, and I expect to come up empty-handed, although I don't. Exactly. You should follow me and watch my videos, and you see what I'm talking about. But that much I could follow, and then you went on about something and something else and a bunch of stuff, and it didn't make any sense, so I got lost.
Yeah, man, it's my sci-fi story, so it makes sense that it's just like all over the place.
Anyways, Jess is in the comments, and I wanted to explain more of what I was saying about people who dream that don't see the face. This is how it is explained. Is because the mind cannot create a face that you've never seen before, so like it just blurs it out or whatever, or I don't know. It's just it's all to do with the same
But
thing.
how does
that's
the
going
computer do it then? If the computer can do it, the mind can do it.
And this is not my belief. This is just something that I saw in a study or whatever it was, and I just thought it was fascinating because I experienced the same thing.
So I've actually looked that study up. Well, looked up information
But
on
James,
those
you do
studies.
see faces,
and
right? Like
they don't.
or you
It's
don't.
not confirmed as anything that's 100% proven.
Well, you can't, right? Like it's in a dream, so like how could it be proven 100%? It's a hypothesis.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of psychoanalysis that can go into it. That if it really makes sense, then it's going to hit all the right points and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting theory, but
So
yeah,
James, do
our
you
brain
see
is
faces
much more
in your dreams
complicated.
or not?
Personally, I do not see faces in my dreams. They are all blurry.
That's interesting because Phil said something similar.
Yeah.
It's not an experience I guess everybody has, and like I said, I wasn't.
Yeah, but if there's already two of you,
Well, actually, it's not just faces for me too. Generally speaking, the phone Google phone thing is a bit of an exception. Generally speaking, I see, like, I'll see a room or something, but I can't get up close and look at something to inspect it closely. So it's not just faces. Like I can't hold up a book and read the title, for example.
I think you've got some rendering issues. You kind of got to look at it like
that's it.
That's it. Remembering.
What's funny for me of all people? I want to know what's going on down here in the comments.
Oh, you called him Jess.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. It was funny. His name is Jay.
Really?
This is a friend of ours. James and I are friends, in case anybody hasn't caught on. We know each other from elsewhere. And Jay is actually kind of like the glue of our community. So
Yes,
it's funny that he called him Jess.
He's our preacher. Host, have you heard of his book at all?
No.
Really? I'm gonna plug your book real quick, Jay.
His profile.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, just turn off your camera for a second.
Oh, he has
I got it right here. It's the holy shit of the Bible. It is.
Hold on, I'll put you up.
Oh, nice.
It's a countdown of the 75 best obscenities, absurdities, and atrocities from the best-selling book of all time.
Damn.
And
The holy shit of the Bible.
who wrote that?
I would
It's
have loved
backwards
that
on
when
me.
I was like 14.
It's right there in the comments. Jay Schneider.
Oh, okay.
I would
Cool.
take that shit to school. The nuns would have gone crazy.
Whoops. Now, how do I get myself back here? Hold on a second. There we
You're
go.
stuck, bro.
I'm stuck. There it is.
It's good. I mean, it just points out all of the absurdity.
It is a pretty far out book, right? Like the Bible is very hard to like even comprehend. It jumps from like fucking timelines. It's very confusing too. Hard to
It
read.
is. It is. I mean, you know, it's got so
Why
many
would-
writers. That it's not a consistent book. I don't know why people think it's a unified.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Word
I
of
was
God
implying
kind of a
that,
thing.
that maybe that book, like the Bible, was saved from the apocalypse, and it's just a bunch of books that survived. They put it together, and they were like writing about that in that time frame.
What,
And
what do you
so-
mean? What do you mean the apocalypse? What apocalypse happened? Because and again, who was around? Because again, Homo sapiens never went extinct. The lowest amount of Homo sapiens was about 15,000. So what apocalypse would have been around to save the Bible from? And again, the Bible was like, again, what apocalypse are you talking about?
I mean, I don't know.
Younger
It's
dry-ass
so
period.
far back in time that, like, I mean, who knows? Like those things are like.
That's what we're asking you.
Well, it's not who knows. Either
there's
apocalypse. You
places
said
like-
apocalypse, ellipses,
Well,
or whatever
if
the
you
plural word
know-
there is.
You know
said-
that place in Turkey that they have like underground system where a lot of people were living on the ground. So that implies that they were surviving like an apocalyptic event, and they were just living like ants, you know.
So
And
if
at
you
one
think
point
of-
they came back and restarted civilization, you know. So
There's
this probably
no
happened many
there's
times.
no evidence that there was a total mass extinction that
How do you
Homo
know? It's so
sapiens
back
were
in
involved
time.
in.
You don't
But
know.
it doesn't have to be a mass extinction necessarily, especially if people are kind of located in one general location at one specific time. So you also have groups of people that would be,
Yes.
you know, socially specific, culturally specific history and things like that. But if you look at the Younger Dryas period, you have a very fast freeze, a drop in temperature due to volcanic activity, and it shifts the environment around the world for at least 2,000-3,000 years. So you've got this very great shift, and if you have a previous society, no matter what kind of society, no matter how big or small, if you have a society that's maintained throughout that freezing period and continues on to because we know that it happened because we're here, so it happened. So the groups that continued from before the Younger Dryas into the modern era would have passed along verbal stories. Now,
Yes.
albeit it's going to be 2,000-3,000 years of stories, and now they're going to have their own technology in the cold of figuring out how to do things they did before. But you know, if now I want to also add, if I may, the question of if everything is destroyed in you know, what's going to come back? Is the Bible going to come back? Maybe not specifically the Bible, but like we're talking about the 2,000 to 3,000 years that it's going to take to recover from the apocalypse to get to the point where we're back to a societal collection like we have modern or currently, which we've had continuously through history, but just in different technological assemblage. So when you get to 3,000 years from now, from the destruction, you're going to have similar things. It won't be the Bible, but it's going to be similar collections of people's beliefs and understanding of how the world works, especially after. So let's say that there's a solar flare that knocks out the electrons in the entire world. So we can no longer use electrons because the sun has evaporated them, pushed them beyond the boundaries of our usage. So now we can't use the electric the way that we know how to use it, and all of the physics that relate to electric like that are going to be affected, and we're going to have to relearn everything. And there's going to be some things that can replace those technologies in different ways, but then the things that do are going to be great. But then we're going to have legends about the gasoline, the electric cars that we had, or the computers and this and that. We're going to have legends about those, and they're going to turn into something within 2,000-3,000 years. It's going to be wild, like the game of telephone. So I think they'll come around. It won't be the Bible, but it will be something like the Bible, and you're going to have
There you
different
go.
views and points from different perspectives. And
Assuming we have an apocalypse to begin with, like maybe we won't. Maybe Elon will get us to Mars, and then we'll be basically invincible. We won't have to worry about it.
But again,
Give us
you just
another
proved-
half a billion years at least. So.
You just proved my point. The Bible, Christianity won't come back, meaning that then just proving that Christianity, if it doesn't come back, then is not the true religion, and that it's just
We
a
wouldn't
bunch
know
of
that.
myth. But when it comes to
How are we going to
science,
know?
I can't tell
science
who's
will come back.
I can't tell who's talking. Can everybody who's not talking mute? Because I don't know who was saying that. Like
That
three
was
people-
Londo. That was Londo.
Put the other format.
No, I don't like the other format. I'm sorry. That's just we
Yeah,
see what it does, but I like the back and forth conversation.
So this is Londo speaking. What I'm saying is that again, let's say all the books are destroyed, in 1,000 years, science will come back, and science will be the same because again, it's the scientific method, not
same.
the books, and the same.
You think we have
But
the same
in
science?
1,000 years? Hold on one second, God.
Interrupting again.
One
Hold
second,
on.
God. Londo
Okay.
speaking. Londo Malaria speaking. In 1,000 years, Christianity, Jesus will not come back in 1,000 years written the same way. That is what I'm saying.
Okay, and neither is science. And science is not going
Science
to
will. Because science is the
All
Yeah,
right, hold on.
science will come back.
No, let me tell you why. Because 1,000 years ago, what plants and animals are extinct from 1,000 years ago? We're familiar with them, but there's some that we're not.
Yep.
And we don't know what those
The vast majority.
plants and animals. We use flora and fauna in science a great deal, if not in totality.
Bro, what are you
Well,
talking
largely what will come back is chemistry, physics, and fundamentary biology, biochemistry, and stuff like
Mathematics.
that.
Well,
Mathematics.
Hold on, I'm trying to get a handle on what Paul is saying. Paul, are you trying to imply that because the flora and fauna might be different in 1,000 years, science can't come back somehow?
I'm not saying it can't come back. I'm saying it's going to come back different because
Yes.
if everything is lost right now, then we're starting at zero, right? Except
Hold
for
on.
what
Science is gonna
people
look
have in their
different.
head, right?
Hold on.
Hold on. Step back. Let me ask.
No.
I'm replying to
no.
the first part. I'm
You're
replying. Yes, I am saying that in 1,000 years, if we're starting at zero right now because all books are gone, okay, this is what your premise is, right? That all books are gone, destroyed right now. Let's just say that this is now the apocalyptic event. Let's say that all books are right now. So now is year zero, right? So we're back to the start with books, correct?
Yes. This is
Okay,
Londo.
so we'll continue. I'll continue. So now there's no books whatsoever. Then we have, what are we going to write down? Are we going to write down things that were important 1,000 years ago, or are we going to write down things that are important now?
Now.
We're going to write things that are important now, and we're going to write things that are
You're missing.
remembered.
Hold on.
That
Please
build
land.
up to now. Correct.
No, incorrect. So the same things are going to matter. You're still going to have gravity. You're like, it's going to take the same efforts, the same exact measurements in order to create telescopes and microscopes.
You're
That's
missing
not
my
going to
point.
change. That's not
You're
going to be
missing my.
different.
Okay, I'm also.
Your
not
point is
explaining-
moot. You're saying.
No,
you're saying
no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
it's,
it is.
It's really
it
not.
is.
Hold on
it
a
is
second,
moot.
please. Give me a second to explain.
No.
Stop.
Wait. Hold on.
You're
Let
interrupting me.
Chris finish, please.
Jesus. You already said this several times, and I finally kind of got a grasp on what you're saying, and you're just wrong. You're missing the point about what science is. Science is a process, okay?
I know. Okay, hold on a
can
second.
you
You're
stop
preaching to the
interrupting?
choir, dude. You're preaching to the choir, so
Okay,
so
you're
hold
not the
on a
choir.
second here,
You're
because
somebody way out in the
Let him
back of the
finish,
no,
Paul.
no,
Why,
no.
why don't you let him finish?
Host, I've been on your show many times, and you know I support science and I
Yeah, the
understand.
Paul, let him just finish what he's saying,
Okay, go ahead.
and then respond to it.
You promise? Because I really don't like starting when I think I'm going to be interrupted.
You got it.
Thanks. So the point of science is the process. It's not the results. The point of science is that you come up with a hypothesis and then you test it by trying to falsify it. You try to prove yourself wrong. And then when you can't, you share it with someone else and you say, hey, can you prove this wrong? Or do you get the repeated results? And then if they get the repeated results, they share it with someone else. And this goes on and on and on until finally there's so many people, it's so overwhelming. You say, okay, this is a fact. We're going to call this a theory. And we're going to say this is true. And then we're going to move on to the next thing. And that's going to be the same. And you're going to end up with very similar results 1,000 years from now when they do the same thing again after your supposed apocalypse, which I really doubt is ever going to happen. We're not going to worry about it. But if that happens, we are going to come up with science just the same as we have now. It could be a longer period. It might take 20,000 years. It doesn't matter. Sooner or later, given the time, conscious sentient beings with the intelligence human beings have are going to come up with science just the same as we have it now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, Paul, why do you think that it seems like you're overstating the difference if it's only based on different flora and fauna?
Okay, so the premise of the question I thought was about pretty much really kind of geared towards the Bible as being the Bible itself and comparing it to scientific texts.
Well, the Bible. Well, you got off on the science thing. The Bible won't come back. There'll be other religions.
Right. Okay, so that was kind of my point with the flora and fauna, is that science will also be different. It's not going to be completely different. Everything you're saying is absolutely correct, and I've learned all that in 3rd grade, my friends. So you're preaching to the choir, and you're discussing something at a level that is way below where you should be thinking about. What I'm talking about is, yes, gravity is certainly going to still be 9.8 seconds or meters per second, as long as the conditions are still currently this or futurely same. As long
Same.
as
The
the
Earth is
conditions
the
the
same
same in the
mass.
future.
Yeah. We haven't
Okay.
hit by an asteroid that's the size
Right.
of Mars or something.
Given that the situation stays relatively the same, then right now we are going to have exactly the same physics that we have currently. I do not doubt that. That's never been a question in my mind. So again, I repeat, you're preaching to the choir. As far as an apocalyptic event, okay, there have been major events that have happened. There have not been like a complete, there may or may not have been a complete destruction of species, but it does not seem to be so by the way of science, because as a peer-reviewed organizational platform, we tap into that to access all the information that we collectively understand as things that we know. Whether we agree with the process that they arrived at, then you can test it yourself. And again, you're peer reviewed. So if you submit, I've always said this, if you have a better idea of something, submit it. You'll make millions of dollars if you're right.
Yeah.
But you're not. So submit that paper because you just don't know what you're talking about. So it's funny that you're saying the stuff that you're saying to me, because I am hyper dedicated to the fact that science is and will always be the process, not the results, because you're going to have the process as long as
Well,
we
the
remain the way that we are, because we are evolving as much as we know we are.
But
And anything else.
science is you're right. It is a methodology, but it's also a collection of information that accumulates over time, and then that leads to new findings. Right, that it makes new implications once we
I'm just
figure.
saying, there was 1,000 years ago, there was a bunch of technology that we don't really aren't familiar with. There were animals and plants that were used for things that we aren't using now because they're not here. Like we use,
For example,
the horseshoe crab for for their blood. We use that in science. We use that for hematology, and in a
And
huge
why
way.
don't we now? Because we probably have something that's it's either more efficient manufacturing or cheaper.
No,
Or,
no, no. I'm saying right now we do. We use we use horseshoe crabs, and we use their
yeah.
blood in science in a big, 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 big way. But
I
if
think
they
there's a
die
big
out, then we don't have that available to use, and we don't have an alternate species to use for that same purpose.
Oh,
So in a
okay.
thousand years,
there's a big disconnect
if we
going
don't
on
have
here.
that, then that's going to be different in science.
Okay, James, you were saying?
There's a huge disconnect between what Chris was saying and what he's saying. I think Chris was more talking about the scientific process to figure things out, not like the scientific formula for a certain
Okay,
Yeah.
Nicole or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think that's where
totally
our
agree.
disconnect is here.
Okay,
Is
I
that
totally agree that the
maybe
process will
plants,
stay the same.
right? The process would still be the same.
I agree
It's
with you, with all of you.
so that's where the
That's
disconnect
entire
was.
point.
I
But that was the
apologize.
entire point. Was it not? Like maybe I'm wrong, host. You can tell us if I'm wrong, but I think that's the entire point of saying science will come back, Jesus won't.
Londo,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
I
Londo.
think
That's
that
what the point I was
Ultimately,
making.
yes. That's
So
correct.
Paul, maybe you misunderstood, but what I'm saying is that the Bible, Jesus is not coming back in
Right.
1,000 years to show the fact
Yeah.
that it's not true, while science, the methods are true.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
guess I
again,
think the
again, people are still have will still have religions because people are superstitious. We have not evolved out of that, and if we
Right.
did
Yeah, I
evolve
guess
out of that, it would take us probably another million years to do so. So we're going to
Right.
be about the same brain wise for quite some time.
Yeah.
yeah.
So there
Like I
will
said,
there will probably be other religions, but Christianity in its form will not come back.
Human curiosity and human fear of death will always lead us back to these woo-woo ways of thinking about life.
Yep,
I agree.
I agree. Yeah,
Bill, couple questions, two questions.
yeah.
I was talking to a pastor friend, and we were talking about science and the theory of evolution and trying to explain theory and science. And he's getting tripped on laws. And I was trying to explain the difference of laws in science versus theories. And law is not above a theory. Is there a better way to try to explain laws of science and theories of science?
Law, as I understand it, and I'm not perfect at law, so correct me. Maybe Chris, if I don't have that. Law describes something that is. For example, there's a law of gravity. Gravity is something, and the law just says that basically it is, and it's this specifically. It doesn't explain it. A hypothesis is a proposed explanation, and then a theory would be one of those explanations that has been tested and shown to be likely true. And the more
More evidence to support it.
evidence and experiments you have over that have supported it, the higher the theory. So
So is it
the facts and the laws kind of come first. Actually, that's like the observation. An apple dropped. That's the fact.
So is there laws in evolution?
So
We need Dr. Blitz for this one.
yeah,
'cause
let
I
me
couldn't
look up
really-
the definition of law because, like I say, that's the one term that I'm less familiar with.
I would say that they're the same. Like scientifically speaking, hopefully you are looking it up because I'm just going to fumble around for a minute while you're looking it up.
My
But,
Google
like,
just
to
went
me,
white screen. Okay, sorry, I
it
got
seems like a law is basically just a theory. Like it's the same thing scientifically speaking, because a theory is like it's the best we can tell true. And what's the difference between that and a law of physics? Well, the laws of physics are the best we can tell true. Same thing.
Yeah, you're right. It does seem similar. A scientific law is a statement that describes how something in nature happens under certain conditions based on repeated observation or experiments. Yeah,
Sounds like scientific theory.
that sounds like theory.
Yeah.
Laws are based on data and can be expressed mathematically, often used to predict how nature will behave. Yeah, it does sound very much like theory. So we have a bit of a synonym here then.
Yeah. That's the problem with
Laws?
English.
Laws describe what happens. Theories describe why they have.
Okay, yeah, I was just saw that. It says scientific laws describe what happens, while scientific theories explain why it happens.
Oh no, they should not say why
They
ever.
should not
Science
say why. They
should
should
say
say
why.
how.
That is a pin me for the theists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Never say why.
yeah,
Get that out of your vocabulary because theists will eat it up.
hmm
yeah.
I've seen it many times. I don't get the ones like the ones before this live, Chris, where they don't even want to talk to people with opposing views. They want to talk to somebody who sees the world the same way they do, and like so the prompts in those things are completely false.
Yeah, they're
Like,
lying.
yeah, it's like explain Christianity or
But-
refute Christianity, but then you
Well,
go
again,
and do so, and
why is the reason? And
What happened? He paused himself.
He paused himself. Something.
oh, sorry.
There he is.
How is the process? Why is the reason, and how is the process?
But
they're
here's
both
but here's the thing.
they're used
If you use the word why, you have to investigate. Is there a why? Yes or no? And if you're unable to decipher that, then you really shouldn't be going forward with that. Only if
why
you
is the
say
psychological
only if
reason
you
and
show
how
that
is the
why is
process?
yes, can you then go to try to put an explanation to it.
Paul,
It's,
you gotta let
it's like
the
it's like saying
explain.
why does something, why are we here kind of thing. Well,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why is the
Yes.
reason, and the reason would be a personal not necessarily objective, personal reason.
no, it turns out there was
Why-
the answer is there is no why. There is
Right.
no purpose.
Yeah, why is the wrong word to use?
Yeah.
in certain circumstances.
Paul, are
No,
you a
in
theist?
any scientific circumstance, you never have a reason to say
I'm a
why.
linguist.
Why is always moot.
No, not always. Not always.
Always. Show me one area in science where why is the right
Oh, okay.
question.
Now, okay. So you're talking about specifically in science.
Yes.
How
that's
about
what
how
I-
about this? How about an example? Try to find an example where you could not instead use the word how.
They're not interchangeable words. They have two different intonations.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
that's
why
all
you
I'm
don't
saying.
need to use why, you need to use how.
Okay, I'm just saying
Sodium
that-
and chloride come together to make sodium chloride, right? Do we now we don't have to we can say how that happens and talk about the electromagnetic charge. There's not a why.
Yeah. We don't say
Is a
why.
We could
because
use the
that's
word
how
how.
you seek higher definition.
What?
You want to know why those
Okay,
things happen because
Paul.
you know how they happen.
Okay, Paul, let me
You can
explain.
observe how things happen, but you have to ask why they happen.
What does
to
why
get to a higher
what does
understanding?
what does why give us that how doesn't give us?
The drive.
Yes, there you go. So purpose. So what you're implying by why is agency.
Yeah.
You are giving the theists a pin me. You're saying there is agency here.
Yeah.
Someone is making this happen. And why are they making it happen? Let
No,
me
the why
explain
is for me to
why. But then
understand. It has nothing to do with God
Paul,
or any other connection.
you really don't like listening to me, do you, Paul?
I'm listening to you fine.
While you're talking?
Yeah. And I'll
Wow.
stop talking. Go ahead.
You got skill, bro.
I know. Thank you very much. Go ahead. Continue.
Go ahead, Chris.
Look, while you're trying to explain why, all you actually do is explain how. Meanwhile, the theist is like, you still haven't explained the why, and I'll explain why for you since you didn't. God. God is why. There is no answer in science to why. There are only answers in science to how, not why. Science doesn't do why.
Right. And because whatever the word, despite the fact that science doesn't do why does not imply that there is a why.
So it's
The
like,
why is the
you
reason
imply
there's
that-
peer-reviewed documents. Because
not
with
why.
that is because how
No.
is all it, the how is the reason that it's a unified.
Well,
entity.
okay, what peer-reviewed documents, that's an interesting phrase, because in peer-reviewed documents, there is a purpose to that, which is to
Exactly.
filter out bias.
Well, you have bias.
in
when
that
you're
case, we have a purpose.
Yeah.
But so we
I
have to be,
mean,
but we do
I'm looking at this
because of what Chris
literally.
said. You have got to be careful of not giving away the assumption that there is a
Well, I said
purpose.
there's the intonation. There's a difference between the two words. You can't just delete the meaning of a
Well,
word that you
we're
don't
trying to
like it
figure
being
out
used by the people
when
that you don't like being talked to by about those things. It's you can't ask me to cut back on my arsenal of words that are meaningful
I guess
So
to
there,
discuss things with you, that you don't want to use a word in a specific way because the meaning is the real reason, or the meaning is correct. What I'm saying.
so there's a good article by a Dr. Christopher Barrard from Western Texas A&M, and he does a pretty good article. I just read a little bit of it, of the difference between a law, a hypothesis, a principle, and a theory. And again, it's probably a pretty good read, and I think that does a better job than AI on explaining the difference between them. Because the
Londo,
theories,
give me that. I missed the beginning of it. Give me that. Who does this? The video?
Yeah, me too.
Oop, come on back, Londo. Come back, Londo. Londo, you back?
can you hear me?
I can hear you
Hello?
now. Yeah. Can you repeat that? What's the source
Sorry.
of this?
So it is an article. So when I Googled search, what's the difference between a theory and a law? One of the hits was a article by a professor from Western Texas A&M, and it's from a Dr. Christopher Barrard, and he does a pretty good job. Again, I just briefly looked over part of it, of the difference between a theory, a law, a principle, and a hypothesis. And basically, to sum it up, a theory is a combination of laws, principles, and everything that just kind of wraps everything together.
Can you spell Barrett?
It's Baird. Baird. I just saw it. I'll put the link in the comment. And it's not letting me cut and paste. Okay. It's Christopher Baird, Baird. And the title here is Scientific Questions with Surprising Answers.
And actually, I'm going to send this to my pastor friend, and hopefully the next time we have lunch, we can talk about this, because I'm trying to get him to, again, he's not a young earth creationist, he can believe in evolution, but trying to get him to understand science more. And yeah.
Why is it not letting me cut and paste?
I got a summary from
annoying.
AI about his breakdown of the two. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. According to Professor Christopher Baird, the difference between a scientific law and a scientific theory lies in the purpose and scope. A scientific law describes what happens under certain conditions. It is a statement based on repeated experimental observations that describes some aspect of the world. For example, Newton's law of motion describes how objects move under various forces. Scientific theory. A scientific theory explains why phenomena occur. It is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world that is based on a body of evidence and has been repeatedly tested and confirmed through observation experimentation. For example, the theory of evolution explains the diversity of life on Earth. In essence, laws describe the what, while theories explain the. These guys do not deal with theists.
No, they don't. They don't. You're right. They could have.
This is the problem with scientists. They
could've-
don't know what it's like to be in the real world. I mean, they do. I should say it this way. They know what it's like to be in the real world more than we do, because we deal with people who are living in a fantasy every day.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
right.
this is I understand why when I read it, but when a theist reads this, they go, see, they're implying God. I was right all along.
Yeah.
There is a God because there is a why.
And whenever you said why when you were reading that, I could hear that if you replaced it with how, it would be just fine.
And it would make more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the argument is that a law is how, and then a theory is how. So it's still linguistically extremely
No,
confusing
no,
to
no,
differentiate them
no,
in a
no,
simple third grade way for them to understand.
no.
Because the
According,
theists, they're not going to
no,
understand how deep you're going because they don't have a foundation to understand what you're saying. All you're saying is you're speaking Greek to them because they don't understand all the technical terms that you're using to throw against them. They don't understand that. They
no.
they just understand what's in the Bible. So you have to keep it in a frame of their understanding for them to understand.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they're going to continue to rock your boat.
no, we all speak English. They're not speaking Greek. The problem is that we're not talking about the semantics enough. We don't discuss what's the difference between why and how enough.
And we
Too
just did.
often we just say the word why, and we
Right.
don't correct ourselves. Atheists all the time make all kinds of mistakes that allow theists all kinds of room to stretch where they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
They have
I
no
don't.
right on
Just
the
the way that I'm
ground zero.
talking to you, I'll talk to a theist about the same distinctions that they're talking about as well, because I'm not. And I
Well,
see right through everything that they're talking about because
yeah,
I understand reality.
but
And
then
I
why are you
understand
using
how
the word
to,
why still?
because I'm a linguist,
What? That doesn't explain anything.
because I'm using the word correctly.
No, I don't think you are at all, linguist or
Well,
not.
I
I
understand
think
you
you're
don't think
wrong.
I am, but I am using it, and you just demonstrated it by reading it directly from a text the exact way
From a
that I described
non-linguist,
it.
from
And you're,
somebody who's not a linguist,
say that again?
from someone who is not a linguist.
That's half a sentence. What was the, I don't understand what you're asking me
The
or saying.
person I read it from was someone who is not a linguist. It literally has quotes around the word why.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's why quotes are around it, because it's not quite exactly that precisely. That's how you use those quotes sometimes in writing. Like if you're having a good day, but you're not really having a good day, a really shitty day, but you're having a quote good day because somebody expects you to have a good day, so you're sarcastically saying you're having a good day. You put that good in quotes because it's not quite really what you mean.
Okay, exactly. So if they said how, then it would be exactly what but the reason it's in quotes has nothing to do with that. It's in quotes because this is AI telling me about it, and they're
Okay,
quoting what the
we're
guy
really just
actually said.
nitpicking hairs here, dude, because I agree with you on the whole premise here. You're just really kind of picking on the words why, and I
It's
get that you
important.
think that it's because deists can use that against you, but they can't use that against me because I understand the meaning of the word as well as the intonations and the different
No,
intonations that words can
it's
mean.
not that they could use it against you. It's that you are giving them an opening to use it in a way that perhaps is not intended.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and I'll
using
Because
it
show them
against
up
them.
anyways.
No, hold on.
I'll
Let me
walk them right through their own folly anyways.
hold on, bro. Because like if you listen to us put a sentence together, like me and our host would have like really made the host. Can you say what you said one more time and let me finish it off?
no.
Damn it. Because I got too distracted by my frustration in that didn't get to
No.
say what.
It's
Oh. So like look. Okay, here's what it is. Theists will use it against themselves, not against you. You have all the guard you need. I fully trust that you understand this. That you understand why is okay for you. And it's okay for me as long as there are no theists around. Right? But when there are theists around, I'm like, I know what they're doing with this word. I'm well aware. And you apparently know what they're doing with this word, but you don't mind it. It's okay with you. Well, it's not okay with me because I'm not afraid they're going to use it against me. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about them. They misunderstand these words, these terms. They use them. They use everything they come across in their confirmation bias.
yeah.
And when we say why, we only feed that confirmation bias. If we were to just slightly change our vocabulary to be more specific so that we're clearer in our communication, then they would not have that wiggle room to use against themselves and their own thinking. They're hurting themselves, and you're feeding that. You're kind of like what is the word? You're an enabler in that sense. When you use the word why, speaking of science, you enable the theist to think in the way they already are. You give them food, you give them wood to burn. You see what I'm saying? Probably not.
Yes,
Hold
I
on.
see. I
Get
see
Manny
exactly
up
what
here.
you're saying.
Host. Can we get Manny up here? Some of the things he's saying is like a little. I want to hear it.
Give it a
Anyways,
try.
go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
I'll
Go
invite
ahead.
him. Whoa.
James, yes, you did.
I didn't.
And it's fine.
I
It's
meant
okay.
to interject in the middle before you guys kept going. Yes. Yes.
I love how whenever you interrupt, you say, I don't mean to interrupt. Well, yeah, you do. It's okay. Just interrupt, bro. It's all right.
Right.
I don't mind.
Were
We need
you
a
guys
theist in
done,
here.
or was there a rebuttal to what Chris
Oh,
said?
I'm sure we could go on for a while.
No,
But
I think they've been enough rounds
Yeah.
on this.
there might have been a bridge there suddenly at that very moment where you
Yeah.
interjected.
Right.
We might never know.
It worked just well. It worked perfectly
Manny?
fine because I have nothing against you at all.
Well, hold on, something
evening,
fell down
guys.
here. I got it.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's gonna bend over. Everybody look. Here comes some
Manny,
plumber
how's it
butt.
going tonight?
Aw.
And Chris, I appreciate your perspective, and I appreciate you being you.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think you're absolutely wrong. I just I have a thing about semantics. I think they're way more important than we think they are, generally.
I'm like I said, I'm a linguist, so I could debate about the semantics for years, but let's continue on to other subjects because I think that we could split linguistic hairs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Man-
I just
man-
gave you a follow. Hopefully we can talk about faith versus hope and trust and stuff someday.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Manny.
Manny, are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
You had a question for him based on the comments, James?
Oh yeah, I was just wondering what your belief is, and yeah, what you were saying in the comments about 313 has a feminine, otherwise it's a LGBTQ trinity without male attribute.
Yep.
What?
What does that mean?
Can you explain?
The Trinity that people are worshiping now is the thing that birthed the LGBTQ doctrine into the world.
What?
No.
People gave their hearts away to a false Trinity, and it allowed for all this stuff to happen, which is not life. Like
James, what did you do to us?
that's how
Yeah, really.
Anti-Christ movement
Where
has,
did you?
has kind of take away from life and associate something that's not life into
Hold
the
on a
living.
second. Hold on a second. Where did you get
Whoa.
this from?
Yeah, Miami. You need to start from how
I'll just stay to the basics. I won't go into the the anti-life thing, but
Okay. But
I'll
Manny,
show
give me
you
1
where my
second really
Trinity
quick.
comes from.
I promise
And
you only 10 seconds.
and it's in everybody.
1 second there, Manny. So I say, this is my opinion. I think we should leave James with this because he brought it up and I want to see him redeem it.
Redeem it. I don't know if I can accomplish that, man, but thanks for the pressure. I appreciate you. Manny, where did you find this knowledge?
Like certain hadiths and the Quran and
See,
looking at the living of our life. I don't want to follow man and be blind. I wanted to follow the word of God that was in my book and see where it takes me.
see,
And I never realized this except for when I was a teenager. But like
yeah,
parents say, "Oh, that's sacrilegious" and stuff like that. It was kind of taken out of us, like saying certain things goes against religious beliefs.
yeah.
So I didn't really think about it for like the last 20 years, but
All right.
ever since I've been in my 40s,
You're testifying.
uh,
Can we stop for a second?
Hold up, Manny. Hold up.
don't know a whole lot about the Quran and the whatever the other thing you said was
Hadith.
The Hadith. So like I may have a hard time pushing back on this guy. Does anybody?
All right. Well, I'm triggered by the LGBT Trinity stuff, which means nothing, Manny. LGBT gay people have existed throughout history, throughout all of history.
Of course.
And Bonnie,
It's been around since after Enos and stuff.
No, it's been around through.
What we're gonna do is repeat and repeat and repeat. We're at a turning point right now. Is either go towards life that is the Father.
Stop. There's no life toward the Father. LGBT people exist now. They have existed just like people with left-handedness and red hair is a minority of the population. It has nothing to do with going toward anything.
Except for I doubt that the environment had anything to do with my left-handedness.
I would agree with that, and we know that trans for sure, and LGBT and gay possibly is largely, if not fully, genetic.
But Phil, one thing, redheaded people probably did not exist at the very beginning, because most people came from Africa. That probably was not a trait until it got changed when people migrated 40,000 years into Europe. So just to let you know, red hair probably did not exist at the beginning.
Yeah, I do go along with that. Let's just say it existed throughout of written human history for sure.
What is red hair? Where did that come into this context?
Red hair is just referring to a genetic trait that isn't a minority of the population. That's all I'm referring to.
I thought maybe it was a red hair-ing.
So I'd just say within the Quran there are really weird things that might show you that it's just incorrect, like Mohammed splitting the moon in two, for instance. The fact that our semen doesn't come from the rib and what is it, the backbone?
Yeah,
between the two.
Yeah. It's got all kinds of falsities within it, and how do you reconcile that?
How do you reconcile the name there?
You have to identify the man in history, because a lot of people tell you point blank in your face that these Arabs stole all the so-called Christian scriptures and all this other stuff. No one ever talks about the Christianity that ruled that era for like a century.
In no way answers my question.
They got murdered by the so-called Arabs that were like.
Okay, how does that answer my question?
And Uthman and Aisha and
he just wants to testify.
Her hadiths
that's
or
all
whatever her scriptures
brought him up.
I thought what he was saying was interesting. I didn't sound like a Muslim to me.
Well, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Manny, what's the point of this? I don't get it.
I just wanted to go to the simple fact of what the true Trinity is, and
what is
born into it.
What is the true Trinity? Can you define this, please?
Yes, of course. Like in the Alpha, Jesus was in the Father, and the Father with his glory, which
what is the true Trinity, Manny? What is the true Trinity?
Can we just have the three parts, please? The three parts.
Yeah, 3 parts. So basically, it's the water in the darkness that was there.
What water? Water is one part. Water is one
the
part.
Wisdom and the knowledge.
Water, wisdom, and knowledge.
To the Father alone.
That's 4 parts.
He gives life to that wisdom and knowledge.
There's another one.
I didn't think Muslims believed in the Trinity. Like
I didn't think they believed in Jesus either.
Manny, you got so many words going on.
Yeah.
Trinity, 3 parts. I need like 3 words.
Give him a second.
Yes.
Help me.
He's trying.
So with God's glory, that is the water. When he says light, it's basically full of his life and his waters, wisdom and knowledge. That's the
His water
feminine
breath.
attribute. They say the word, and the light comes into existence. So the word of God is life and wisdom and knowledge.
All right.
So
Hey,
basically,
Manny.
when they
Stop it,
refer
stop.
to the three holies,
He's asking
they're
about it.
talking about the Holy Father, the Holy Mother,
Manny,
and
please stop.
thanks to that,
Yeah.
we get the Word of God
I'm
in the
done,
living.
Vince, if you are.
That doesn't make any sense, Manny.
Hold on. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Go ahead, Paul.
He's kind of saying, well, hold on. Before I make any assessment, I'm sorry. How do I say your name?
Oh no, you're gonna ask him a question, aren't you?
Manny.
Manny? Assalamu
Yeah, that's-
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
I want to are you asking how we feel about the Trinity and why Christians have perpetrated violence the same as what they claim that Muslims and other religions have perpetrated as well? Is that what your question was?
What?
3
hours later.
I'm saying like certain doctrines of man, that Jesus came back to rectify, and make man go on that right path. There was a reason why this so-called Islam came into existence, and there was a hadith that talks about the 100 years of peace kind of thing.
Hadith is a book.
but-
I'm sorry to cut you off. A hadith is a book or a chapter in the Quran, just to educate you all to understand what he's saying.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
No,
you're totally off.
it's not. It talks about an age, like how the companions, if you look at the hadith, it shows you
Which
like
one,
how
bro?
they were actually murdered.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
And that
this is going
how
to be
the
endlessly
Arabs took
ridiculous.
Okay.
the word of God, Isa says salam.
is anybody interested in what this? I mean, like,
No,
No,
James.
this is
No, we're not,
kind of
James. Thank you
not
very much.
me. I already said I was.
this is
done a
kind
long
of
time.
droning on.
But I guess the problem that I have, Manny, is like you have this book, but I have this book and it says a thing, and then so how do we know whose book is right? And I that's the problem I hear.
Nobody's book is right. Everybody's book has the word of God in it. But if we trust God and look at who were actually the people who got murdered by these so-called,
Unalive. Manny, you have to say the word unalive.
by
You
the
can't say the
Jews,
N-word.
the Jewish
Good excuse
women,
to
they were all killed by this
You
certain
can't say
group.
the K word.
And,
You have to
and
say
it's all
unalive.
true for every
Agreed.
single person
Agreed.
who is a prophet who saw Jesus sometime in their life.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing the word. We'll get back to you later.
A salami
Don't
liquor.
call us.
I
We'll
don't
call
get
you.
I don't get
I
how you
Manny.
I can
Manny.
give you my channel. I'm in a channel
Manny.
where I got all this
Man, hey,
information from.
let him
and
tell
I
us about
checked
his
it.
channel,
Go
everybody.
ahead. Go ahead.
It's
All
a
50
YouTube
people.
channel. It's called The Guided One.
The
The
guy.
unguided one.
teaches-
Got it.
He
Hey,
teaches the
salami
spirit
liquor.
of truth.
See you later.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Manny. So
Manny.
that's the reason.
no,
that you
don't
don't
engage
Don't ask
me.
too many questions.
No, I had
You
a
guys-
question for Manny, Paul.
Come
I had a
on.
question,
Let's
Paul.
let's finish in peace. Come on.
We are in
Let him
peace,
ask
Manny.
a question.
Yeah,
But
he's
Manny,
tired.
Come
Manny's
on,
tired.
no,
So
Manny.
much word from the Lord through Manny. He can't handle anymore.
Right.
Let him rest.
Manny made a very confusing thing. He said none of the books are true, but in all the books is the word of God.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I
And
never,
have the
I
word
never
of
said,
God in them.
I never said
He's
there were
talking about
no.
an ultimate truth through God
All right.
Himself.
Too
as
much. Too
opposed-
much. Too
So
much.
I guess I'm so confused. So does my Bible over here have God in it?
You guys are out to mock people. You're not really out to understand anyone.
You
That's
gotta
what
be kidding.
When
I'm
it's word
honestly,
salad like
Paul.
that, and he's not answering questions,
Yeah.
and like
That's
he's
just
just spouting off about
bullshit.
nonsense. Fuck yes, I'm gonna mock
Wait,
him.
hold on,
No,
hold on.
Paul,
So
Paul,
wait.
you
If
are
there was anything
you're-
redeemable about that, Paul, why don't you steel man it for us?
Paul, you're linguistic, so language matters. I was pointing out his
Yeah,
language was terrible.
Hello.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. I mean,
It
we're
wasn't
trying
his
to get
first
him
language.
to define Trinity, and he went on to about it.
I was trying to understand what he was trying to
paragraphs.
say, and
Yeah.
and everybody was cutting him off, and he stopped mid sentence, and he wasn't getting the full idea out. I was trying to understand what he was saying, and for the same reason that you guys were saying I was cutting you guys off, I stopped talking when you guys were talking, giving you the benefit of the doubt, and you guys have, we're all strong-headed in our opinions, and when we get into it, we get really into it.
But there wasn't an opinion there.
Is when I started to
You didn't let him
respond to
get there.
you, my response actually made sense, right?
And it's
Like,
not
you-
my
you
channel,
James,
so it's up to the host.
Your response was, "Hey, let's bring this guy up."
Hey,
My
shush.
response was nothing.
It was
that
hey,
wasn't
Are
you, that
you?
was
All right.
James.
Okay, guys. Enough.
now we truly know what the Trinity is. It is water.
Yeah. I wish
Yes,
he really
Paul.
he was
It's
really
I was
able
just
to.
trying to
Water.
understand what he was trying to say about the Trinity, because it did not seem like he was
But
saying
we
that the
asked
Trinity
him.
was
We
right.
asked him 3 times over about the Trinity, and
And
each
he was
time
explaining.
he got just as elaborate.
Yeah,
Trinity means 3 things. Give me 3 things, and then it was
Yeah.
just like water
I
and
don't think he
wisdom.
would be able to
you
do
know.
that on the spot, though. I don't think he would understand how to do that on the spot. I mean, it didn't seem like he was like English was his first language, and he was trying to figure out how to say what he was saying. And I know it's not fast enough for you. I'm misunderstood because you guys aren't taking the time to understand what I'm saying too. Because
Well,
you cut.
go check out his channel. It's called. I see it right here. It's called the
I'm not
guided.
trying to
The
defend his
guided
position
one.
because I
So
don't know anything about his position.
he's
I'm
got
just saying.
352 subscribers.
Yeah, but you're interested in understanding it, so there's
Yes.
the channel.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, I am gonna wrap this up for tonight. We're at 3 hours.
All right.
It's,
And Phil, you said you're only going to do once a week now?
I am shifting down to once a week. Yeah, so I'll be
Just-
on every Wednesday.
Busy
Why?
stuff in life.
Basically, yeah, there's shifting priorities in life and some financial stuff that I need to take care of by putting
Oh,
more
okay.
time
Other
into
stuff.
some other stuff. And like I've said earlier, I'm 66. I'm not that young anymore, so we've got some post-retirement considerations to do and some health issues to deal with. So it shifts priorities around. So
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, I
Anyways.
appreciate it. And I'll be on the next one.
all right, we'll see,
Always
Thanks for hosting, bro.
see you Wednesday. Take
Okay.
care.
Yep.
Good night,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me up.
Good night, Lon.
I'll be doing my
Appreciate
own
you.
live if anybody wants to come in.
I'm on my way.
Head on
All right.
over.
Good night.